Past the monkey's ass, so you know what time it is. That means it's time for Outlaw Radio. Outlaw Radio on a Wednesday night, Hump Day edition. Free thankers. Free thankers. You got to be thanking. You got to be thanking. In the spirit of Juneteenth Day, which is a designated federal holiday, if you will. I know I wasn't off work either, so apparently somebody still ain't got the memo. But yeah, happy Juneteenth Day. I hope you're feeling good. I seen that. Shout out to the 414. Stand up, man. Juneteenth, look, it was come on, man. 40, 50, 60,000 of us down there, man. I haven't heard anything that's in. I think it's probably over now. I think the festivities are probably over now. But yeah, man, all positive, all love. Everybody online, like love, love, love. Unfortunately, I wasn't there. But man, Juneteenth has always been celebrated like this in Milwaukee. We are one of the first large cities to even actually have a Juneteenth Day celebration. And a lot of people don't give Milwaukee its credit for that. So, welcome to Outlaw Radio. It's what we do on Mondays and Wednesdays, 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, until whenever we choose to cut the machine off. Hey, I hope everybody's feeling good, man. This looks like, because we always talk about the bad shit in Milwaukee. This is looking like it might have been just as most what it's supposed to be, which is just us, us fest. I really believe this should be held on the lakefront in a bigger kind of thing. Like it should be like a music festival attached to it, right? Not just get together on, and shout out to that, because that's what it was. But I feel like this should be some sort of event after this. The days leading up to it. It should be pre-Juneteenth Day. That's just how I feel. Y'all tell me I might be bugging out and shit. Kev on that sauce again, right? Smoking that shit. Who knows? I see you in the chat room. Ewok. I see you in there. He said, "Yo, bro," and I do have a chat room, y'all. Let me put this up here. There's a chat room. He said, "Yo, bro." And Ruben's in the chat. Shout out to Ruben. What's up, my brother? He said, "What's good?" Listen, there's a phone number attached to the show. So it's 262-202-5131. 262-202-5131. And then as demonstrated, you can see the chat room. So, but yeah, man, shout out to it looked beautiful. Anytime you get it just looks like a sea of black people. And that's always a beautiful thing. So it looked like the children had a good time, man. I mean, we ain't got no fireworks. You know what I'm saying? I like people say, "Well, come on, Kev, give it time," but it's been 50 years. This was the 53rd one, right? Can we get some fireworks? Can we? Now, Snoop should have been at Juneteenth Day. That should have been the ask of, and he should have got that proclamation at Juneteenth Day. You feel what I'm saying? Like Snoop somebody should have said, "Yo, well, we got Juneteenth. Ours is one of the original ones in the country, and it pops. It'll be 40, 50, 60,000 people there. Come on down, man. Talk to the people, talk to these kids." Imagine his outreach to start his football league here and all that. To really so people won't be bugging out like, "What the fuck you do for the shit?" I'm just saying that just goes to show you the right people didn't bring him here. Because he should have been at Juneteenth riding on the back of a Cadillac or something. And people just going crazy, right? And just got up, talk to the kids, say, "Hey, man, keep hope alive. Keep hope alive." Something like that. I don't know. Once again, y'all tell me am I bugging? Sometimes I'll be on some other shit. But yeah, man, and we didn't say the other day, rest in peace to Willie Mays, the Say Hey kid, who, if you know, one of the first black baseball players in Major League Baseball, and one of the greatest ever, like one of the coldest ever. And so he was 93 years old, and he passed. And see, we don't really, black people, we don't really play baseball no more, right? Most of us are basketball, football, track, whatever. Black people don't really play baseball no more. So he was from the era when, we were excluded and then included, and then brothers dominated. You get Hank Aaron, you get him, you get a bunch of other great black players. But rest in peace to him. Happy travels, man. You did your thing. But yeah, man, shout out to y'all, man. If y'all tuned in tonight, share the show, share the show, share the show. I want to talk about just the spirit of what Juneteenth Day should be. Because in actuality, I said it's 50 years old, but it's still kind of in its infant stages. Like, we haven't really put a definition on it. We haven't defined what we do to celebrate it. I mean, we spent a lot of time just arguing whether or not we should be acknowledging it. So I wanted to expand on Juneteenth a little bit more tonight on the show, and post Juneteenth, obviously. As I say, free thinkers. We keep talking about the concept of freedom on the show all the time, in every kind of level, financially, spiritually, whatever, physically. We talk about that. So people say we ain't free. Some people say we are. People who said we ain't still went to Juneteenth Day, which is a celebration of them saying we are. I don't know if y'all understand. Am I talking too fast, or are you listening slow? I always wanted to say that. Bro, welcome to the show, man. How you doing tonight?
Man, I'm blessed. I'm happy to be here. Just cracking up about you and that Juneteenth shit. Did you get your ice cream?
I do. They still hating on that. That's what I'm saying. This hasn't been defined. Like, if not the ice cream, then what? Like, you got green beer. You eat dressing and turkey on Thanksgiving and dressing and Christmas ham. What do we eat on Juneteenth Day? Let's pick
corn.
A food. Corn, right? That should be essential. Roasted corn. We're already starting. What are the customs? I was just saying how everybody was upset about them being mad at giving Snoop this thing. Somebody should have told him, and I feel like Brother DC, maybe you should have told, hey, you should come to Juneteenth Day. It's in 2 days. Now, then I'd have said, give him the proclamation there. See, that would have been some black shit. If you gave Snoop the thing at Juneteenth Day, come on, man. That would have been, it would have been such a great look, man. But, Kerry Walker Jones, shout out to you in the chat room. Shabaka St. Cord, he says, greetings from Sin City. Kerry Walker Jones says, turkey legs. Absolutely. So we got 2. We got roasted corn. We got smoked turkey legs, right? So what else? What's the theme of the day? Like, what are we wearing? What colors are we wearing? Good. St. Patrick's Day green, Christmas red. Easter is lavender in the Baptist church, or fuchsia.
Right. Electric blue.
Right. Whoa, this motherfucker got all the colors on, right? Shit. So I'm saying, let's define it.
We really can't do the African, like, I was gonna say kente cloth, but then I think of Kwanzaa, so that's already took, I guess.
Please don't get me started on Kwanzaa. Please don't get me started on Kwanzaa. God damn it! You had to fuck up a good thing, Rail. I'm just joking, but you're right, and so even the attachment of the African, like Pan-Africanism to it, right? But we're talking about American, foundational Black American slaves. At this point, 1865, the African part of them had been pretty much washed out. You feel what I'm saying? Because you put them over here, they didn't know who was who, where was we. You ain't with your tribe. You had to learn. You had to be colonialized. So by 1865, you're not really African. I mean, you are, but I don't think Juneteenth says to me, you're now. We just put a government act in that basically, supposedly, allegedly emancipated you. We learned later on it was some bullshit, but that's not African. That means you're an American now. Think about that. Okay, you're no longer enslaved. We're gonna make it illegal to do whatever. This is what they said, real. I'm not saying it happened.
Right.
To me, that's like saying, okay, you're American now, which means, I guess that's where the term African American comes from. But I always felt more American than African. That's just me. So you missed me with the kente cloth. I guess that was my point.
But then you can't do wax cloth. Like I wanted a Afrocentric smoker's jacket. I still might do it. But I was looking at wax cloth. But you know that's Dutch and shit. Like,
oh my God.
Yeah, I thought wax cloth and all that shit was African, but it was like I think sold to the Africans by the Dutch or some shit like that.
You know, a lot of things. Well, we know first of all, people say Africa, 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 and here's my point too. And I'm gonna leave this alone after this because we can holler African, African, but they never came over here to get us. You feel me? Like after we was taken. They never came back and said, yo, we going back. Yo, we finna go get all the brothers and sisters they done took. There was never no action. Like, I'm just saying, I feel a certain kind of way behind this shit. Like what my relationship with Native Africans, you know, let's talk about that with Juneteenth Day. What does Juneteenth Day mean to Native Africans? Depending on where they from, not a damn thing, because some of their countries wasn't free until the 50s and the 60s. From, you know, European control. So they'd be like, fuck Juneteenth Day.
Bleaching cream going crazy over there.
Right. Carrie Walker Jones, she said, red, our blood and sweat built this country. Yes, I keep saying we are the only true Americans. Black people are the only people that were created by this country. Inadvertently. I know they didn't do it on purpose. But they took these African slaves, these islander slaves, these Native American slaves, and then they put them in this mixer. And in between that, they ran up in the gene pool. You know, you got to cause where you get light-skinned slaves from? Jumping in and out of the bed, right? Like, so it becomes this unique mix mash of people that's African-based, but everything influenced. You feel me? Like, who knows? You might be part Latino, part Native. We don't even talk about Black Native Americans who were probably Africans who came over here way before young Christopher and all of them dudes even knew how to put a sail on a pecan shell. So it's very deep. So in terms of classifying us, when you have Jamaicans, you have Nigerians, you have, you know, people of Dominicans, it's Africa everywhere, Puerto Rico. Brothers down there slanging wood on the boat. Jump off the boat. Man, we've been on the water for 3 weeks. Bang, bang, bang. You get on the boat and leave. Everybody pregnant. They on their way to another country. So, you know, it's been popular for a very long time.
Well, ain't nobody outdo Genghis Khan.
Right. Well, yeah. Him and Hannibal. And them dudes is well traveled, man.
Man, he was having babies everywhere.
She said we wasn't taken. This is Carrie Walker Jones. She said we weren't taken. We were traded. See, that makes it even more kind of, for me, I feel a certain way like, oh, you gonna trade me? Like, so, right. So maybe that's the reason why they never said, let's go back and get them. Hell, but then you get people who don't want to spread the narrative that we sold each other. I've heard several kind of, you know, speeches and like different kinds of clips and shit on YouTube where they're saying, well, we didn't actually, you know, because that's what we've been told. Like certain tribes sold other tribes, right?
Yeah, that's that Woman King movie and shit.
I knew you was going there. Yeah.
What is that? No, is that the Dahame? I can't remember, but
I call it a movie I never seen.
That's I ain't watch it either, but I just know like the history of the that tribe. They were I mean, you know, wherever there's people, there's war. Wherever there's war, there's prisoners of war. Right. And then if you could trade them motherfuckers for guns so that you better at war, it just, you know. But even before that, you had the Muslim slave trade. You know.
So okay. Let me. When we talk about just that, okay, we trade these people, right? And so that means, fuck y'all, right? Like, who cares what happens to y'all?
Damn.
So, I mean, basically, so
what you mean? So after they traded the people, like they
wasn't giving a fuck what fuck them, put them on a boat.
Oh, they had a ritual where they would make them walk around this tree of forgetfulness, okay, so that they can forget their identity and shit like that before they were shipped off. And from like I guess a spiritual perspective, so they
But
could forget
that's
the
that's
motherfuckers who
not where
did
I'm
it to them.
going. What I'm saying is, once we was sold on the boat, we was out of sight, out of mind. There was never no, oh, we should go and find our like, hey man, we want to talk to y'all leaders, America. We
Nah,
want our people. No, it's like fuck y'all. So what happened
they were
is,
so serious about not seeing them again. They did that ritual to make sure they didn't see them.
so once we got here, what I'm saying is that kind of you were disowned in a sense. I mean, basically,
It depends on, I guess, the circumstances you got over here, where you traded or where you snatched. You know, they were snatching people too, like, you know.
Well, I'm talking to the people who say we was traded because
Oh,
at
okay.
one point this was like commerce. This was a product. It was an industry. I'm just saying that once we were gone and we got over here and we kind of started to forget about Africa, right? We didn't even know, a couple generations. Of
Forced to.
course, in the beginning, but by the time you get to 4th, 5th generation of this shit, you ain't thinking about Africa. You're like this. I'm in America. It's a
And
whole new gig.
you know, the double whammy to that shit, or the extra slap in the face, is even the ancestors who tried to preserve it secretly. A lot of them did so well making it secret that now we'll do the ritual but not understand the African origin of it. You know, whether it's like spitting on the broom or shit like that, you know, it is still ingrained in it. Or even black church, the whole dance shout thing, that's African spirituality. But they did so well at hiding it from the white person to preserve that tradition, that they must didn't teach their kids the reason they was doing it. They just taught them to do it. So now we got people doing shit that they don't even realize is, or like even the ancestor shit. Like people will say, don't worship your ancestors, don't make an altar and shit like that. But growing up, everybody house I went to who had that built-in wooden buffet thing,
Everybody,
man, that shit used to be
everybody
so cold, man. That shit was, I
with a
miss
mirror,
that.
and like
Yeah, but you know,
glass
then
and
they had
shit.
the family Bible up there. They had the
Uh,
grandparents' picture, the granddaddy pocket watch. So it was still an altar. It just wasn't called that shit.
I mean, my whole point is, I guess I just and we just got away from the. I was celebrating, you know, this whole Juneteenth Day thing, but looking at my relationship with Africa came up, so that's how we end up on
Oh,
Africa. You
I
tell me, like,
love
what the fuck they talking about,
I'll be cool
right?
with a motherfucker
Because
with
because
that.
because I thought you made a great point when you said kente cloth. Because when people see that, they automatically associate that with some sort of Afrocentrism, right? Like, oh, that's for black people. But in actuality, you could be wearing a kente cloth, and if you're not really knowledgeable on where you come from in Africa or where your people were, you could be fucking supporting the enemy.
The people who traded you off,
Right, because you don't fucking know.
the Ashanti or some sort
Yeah.
of Ashanti club or some shit.
You walk around and shit, yeah, I'm African. Then you just, find out, oh, you from here. It's like, oh shit.
Now, is that equivalent to wearing a MAGA hat? Like, is that equivalent to the red cap if you really was wearing a tribal garment of the motherfuckers who
Yeah,
shipped
well,
you off?
it could be because I mean, first of all, your ignorance is your issue. So you're not intentionally making this choice. You're thinking, okay, I'm want to look native, right?
Right.
So and I meet somebody and they say, "Oh, this is Nigerian thread and yada yada yada," and you say, "Oh shit, I'm supporting the motherland and all that." Then if you really did your due diligence on you, where you come from, and I don't encourage anybody to use these DNAregistry.com bullshit. That is some bullshit. I don't do it. Right. Do your own research because you can go down through the South and look at birth records and all that shit. Don't send your DNA off like that. They got bought out by Blackstone. We talked about it. It's a whole different show. But I'm saying, but you fuck around and find out. You talk to some elders and you can start tracing it that way and say, oh shit, we actually from a place that they shitted on for years that they still occupy. And I'm walking around with these sandals and I got beads and shit, kufis and shit. Like, come on, man. You gotta. That's why I say my family is from Mississippi. That's where we from.
You know what? That's damn near equivalent to finding out that your great grandparent was the teller on the plantation. You know what I'm saying? That's like,
Right. You from a long line of Uncle Tom. I mean, like house
that's
niggas. I
bitch
don't say
ass
Uncle Tom.
George lineage.
Yeah, yeah. You come from Step and Fetch It. Like y'all invented that. Right? But we keep
That's me
fishing.
fucked up though, man.
Hey,
You all
listen, man.
proud of all this shit. We made it. To find out you snitch ass George grandson.
When knowledge of self goes wrong. Like, God damn it. I wish I didn't know that.
Oh
Well,
man.
your great grandfather was a famous cross dresser in Harlem in the 20s.
Hey, that's why that what's that critical race theory shit? They didn't want to be answering no questions to their great grandchildren.
But I think critical race theory to me, and not in when you, I believe it can be weaponized, first of all, because it can be in some forms rhetoric, right? Like it can be, you can say some shit from critical race theory and throw it out there, and it may not be entirely accurate, but it sounds like it's in the spirit of that. Like, hey, you motherfucking white people ain't did nothing else but lie the whole time. You killed so and so and so, and then motherfucker be like, well, no, actually, they didn't do that.
Right.
Yeah. Well, shit, you know what I'm talking about.
Right.
What it really for me represented was observing the legality of slavery, segregation, and discrimination. What I drew from it was when you looked on the books back then, there were laws that were not there to protect us. There was stated perceived freedoms, but we didn't have them because of systematic things. And so it was basically legal to be racist. It was legal to say niggers need not apply. That's cool. Ain't nothing, I ain't breaking. You might think it's wrong, but I ain't breaking no law.
Right.
So that's how they kept it in place for so long. It was institutionalized from the start. We keep saying, well, when we get it's overt in the South, but it's institutionalized in the North. Well, it was institutionalized in the South too, because it affected education, economics, and equality.
Right.
I just pull them 3 E's out of the atmosphere. So yeah, there's that, right?
Right.
Shout out to Beverly Williams. How you doing, Miss Beverly? Miss Beverly, we trying to get you a plaque. We trying to get you a proclamation. We was mad they gave Snoop one. We said they should have gave that to Miss Beverly. Had her throw out the first pitch at the Brewer game. Kerry Walker Jones said that's why I hate being told I'm from kings and queens, because they don't trade no princes and princesses. Yeah, well, that's another one of them kind of things that black people will say, and it's more to make ourselves feel good to say, hey man, we descendants of kings and queens, but ain't everybody pretty much? No matter what race you are, white people don't say I'm the descendant of governors and mayors. They don't say, but you look down their timelines, they are the descendants of those individuals. I get it though. Black people saying at one point we lived in Africa and we came from these, beautiful spaces and kingdoms. But it's more or less just to make you feel better about yourself. Like people say, "What's up, King?" I'm always kind of like, "Okay, well, what's up, brother? What's up?" Well, hey, Queen, Queen, hey, Queen. It rubs me the wrong way sometimes.
Yeah.
I hear when people say it. Like sometimes you're talking to somebody who will say it, but it's part of their normal convo. I'll be like, I'll let you, King, and that's cool once. But every day I talk to you, don't be saying King to me every 5 fucking minutes. Hey, King, what's up, King? Hey, King, bro, slow down. My name is Kevin. Just call me Kev. It's just a personal. I'm petty. I'm petty. I understand it. I am. Yeah. I mean, like I say, every now and then it's cool. I understand the greeting. I've gone places with my wife and people say, "Hey, man, hey, Queen." But even my wife is one of them type of people where if you say it all the time, she's like, "Okay," like what's going on? Like, I'm just not evolved. I guess
some people just don't like certain words. I try not to get words that type shit, but I've seen people with, don't call me queen, that's just the king's whore. It'd be like, damn, okay, like You
Right.
took it all the way over there for that shit. You know, I
That's
call people
your problem.
God and goddess, you know, gods and goddesses, you know, but some people don't like that. There's only but one.
Well, I mean, like I said, I get the kind of, because I say everything's about context. I get that. I'm just saying, anybody who talks like a book of poetry in real life, for me, I have a problem dealing with them. Like, hey man, you know, birds are beautiful and rainbows are blue and the rivers run. Like, bro, talk in regular fucking English. Like, you talking to me like you a character in a fairy tale or something. I don't drive, I transition. You know, motherfuckers be like that, like, oh, I exist in space and time in a quantum realm. Like, nigga, you came up on Burlock. Dion, what's popping, man?
Man, what's going on, man? I don't know, man. I sound like there's some Tim Scott shit going on here, man. What's happening though?
I'm
On the real.
just talking shit. Free thinkers. The name of the show is Free Thinkers. Like, we should be able to think on whatever level we want, and nobody should have a problem with it.
For sure.
Honestly,
I dig it. Well, I agree with you on the sense of let me see, I agree with you because I don't believe in I do call certain women of statue queen because of their physical attributes, and she's shaped like a queen, very shapely. I don't believe in that king stuff. You understand what I'm saying? Like, call me deep, but or whatever. But I do believe in, you know, a lot of the things that you're saying. But the thing about as far as with Africa, them coming for us, I don't think like you at first it sounded like a little gibberish to me at first, but then you made sense towards the end because the original people that were from Africa, and then and then their relatives, you know, with birth, like say the first maybe, as they say, 16, 19, so we'll start from there. Even though we know Africans were here before then, but just say the original ones that came here doing 16, 19 in Georgetown, Virginia, as history wants to say. Those were original Africans. But once they started being born on the shores of America, those were Americans, and the Africans slowly died out. So we no longer had any, I'm not going to say bloodlines, but we didn't have any cultural ties to Africa besides the oral and certain traditions that were passed down from the ancestors that passed away. But you also have to understand, I was watching a documentary, Africa feels that they should be paying reparations. And I kind of agree with them in a sense, because the slaves that were taken away from Africa, if they were allowed to stay in Africa, this says slavery never existed. No telling economically where Africa would be, because you took away a lot of people that were artisans, that were blacksmiths, just the list goes on and on and on. And those people could have contributed to the upbringing of Africa, but we'll never know because people were taken. So I do agree with them in a sense. And like you said, back to the king, I also understand that me and one of my guys was talking, and it made sense. That's just like one time when you were talking about entrepreneurship. Everybody can't be a general. You got to have lieutenants, you got to have sergeants, and the list goes on and on. It's like everybody can't be a chief. So in society, when we look at certain people and be like, well, why they can't be? We need those people. We need those type of people, or those people. That's the role that they were meant to play in life. Do you understand what I'm saying a little bit? Because in certain things in life, I believe that this is what I believe. I believe that your time or whatever situation, how your life is going to be played out, is already ordained. So, like you said, everybody can't be a president. Everybody can't be a vice president. Everybody can't be a secretary of state. Everybody can't be an entrepreneur. Everybody can't be a teacher. Everybody can't be a principal. Everybody can't be a student. So it's in culturally in life, if you go back to Africa, you had the kings, you had the queens, you had the warriors. Then you had basically the minuscule people that played their roles, but they were just as important as those people. Because if you're a blacksmith and you know how to make all the weaponry, don't nobody else in the goddamn village know how to make the weaponry, but Kevin know how to make the weaponry oratorically. If we had Rail there, he know how to get the warriors motivated. He's speaking and he's able to do this. And me, as far as nautical, if I'm able to read maps and map out plans where we can go invade different kingdoms and stuff, we all had a role to play. So I definitely feel you on the king stuff. You understand what I'm saying? But a lot of times, that's why I said, and I don't be mean at us, but we talking to a vast crowd of people, and maybe people that really start tuning in for the first time. Everybody can't envision what it was like to be a slave. Everybody can't envision what it's like to be a slave and then one day you're free. And that's why I tell you, and I think I sent it to you a reel, it was a guy on TikTok and Instagram or whatever, when he was talking about we're not totally free. Because when we were slaves, we totally depended upon the master. See, people, like I said, it's hard to envision 4 million people just free. They ain't got nowhere to go. They had to stay up on a plantation. Maybe some went north or wherever looking for relatives or whatever that was separated, that was sold into slavery. But for the most part, people stayed upon the plantation. And that's where, what's that shit that we all sharecropping came in. So, it's just, don't let me talk over, kids. Step in and take over, man. What's going on?
I'm sitting here laughing because you're going back to when we were slaves. We were slaves, and we couldn't get out the plantation. We wasn't free. That's why now, and that was, I don't know how long ago, right? 200 years. And in 2024, you still have people saying, but we still ain't free. And I'm trying to understand that, because free to do what? I would love to have this conversation with anybody that can call me right now and say, Kev, I'm not free because I can't do this. Tell me why you're not. Hold on. Tell me why you ain't free right now. And please don't say because I'm, and you can say I'm dependent on the white man, but the white man is hold on.
Where's your freedom?
The white man is almost beholden to the Asian man, because if you look at America and who owns what, right? The country's in debt to Asians and all kinds of Arabs and all kinds of other people, Latinos, Native Americans. So you ain't just dependent on the white man. You dependent on every other man. Because as a black man, we don't own shit. So it's not really about, I ain't free because I still depend on the white man. No, you ain't. If you're not free, it's because you depend on every man. But now, do you have the choice to make some decisions and go in some directions to further elevate yourself? You do. You can't define to me what you can. Well, I can't leave the state. Well, that's probably because you're on probation. Yeah, because I was locked up in the white man's prison because I broke the white man's law, and the white man gave me black man time. It's always because of, instead of just saying, I ain't free right now because I fucked my life up, getting in trouble and shit. And I should have been on the straight and narrow. And I'm not blaming you. I'm just saying, just admit it. So, Dion, I ask you this all the time. Why are you not free? Why are you still talking about slavery in 2024 on Juneteenth Day, the day that we're supposed to mark us being free?
I'm not going to live in the illusion that we're free. Okay, we're free compared to the sense of our ancestors.
I asked you a question, though. I asked you a question. I said, what can't you do? Why are you not free?
But see, it just ain't as simple as ABC. You understand what I'm saying? See, we're trying to break down be simplistic of it. It's not that simple.
Ain't nobody simplifying shit. Yeah, okay, I'm asking you a very specific question. We ain't doing nothing ABC. I'm asking you a very specific question. Whatever layers to it, then you should be able to articulate it instead of dancing around this shit.
I am. Right now, I had a freedom to walk out my door. I'm going to get in one of my vehicles. I'm going to go get me a smoothie from Culver. I have the freedom today that I took off from work. I'm at home catching up on a few little things because the day was Juneteenth. But when it still boils down to it tomorrow, for one, I'm going to the white man's institution. I got to check in the NPS at first. Then after that, I'm going to go to my second job, another white man's institution. Then Friday, I'm going to look at my paycheck and see what all the deductions that the white man taken out before I even had a chance to touch the money. Then I'm going to go to a store, Woodman's or Myers, or one of the stores that the white man provide us food and nourishment to, because I don't have any pigs that I'm slaughtering. I don't have any chickens in the back. I'm not growing my own vegetables. I don't have a water purification system just in case the tainted water that I have.
access to all these things. You don't got to go to Woodman's. There's
No, I'm just
go to
saying,
Bill
though.
the Butcher. There's a black grocery store in Sherman Park. Go there. What do you do? I gotta go to Woodman's. I gotta go.
No. I was just,
give me a smoothie with Culver's.
Check it out though. Even though if we have those little black stores, they don't have sustainable things that we probably need every day. Now, you don't want to see the freedom because you don't want to look at it like we're still in bondage because that's the way you look at it.
Don't tell me how I look at it. You don't know how I look at it. You don't know how I look at it. Don't say how I see it. Don't say how I see it.
When you needed that back surgery, hold on. When you needed that back surgery, you went to a white man's health institution and had them perform. You couldn't just go to an average.
Hold on. Where should I have gone? Where should I have gone?
No, that's what I'm saying.
No. Hold on. That don't mean, listen, that don't mean I'm not free because I went to a hospital that's owned by some white people so an Indian can operate on my back. That don't mean I'm not free. That means I live in a place where I had accessible medical care and insurance so that I can get it taken care of. If I was still a slave, they would have been like, we don't serve niggers here. And go your ass lay down and just let your shit be broke. And that's where I be at. Listen, so what are you talking about?
This conversation go back and forth all day. I could tell you the reason why we ain't free. You can sit up there and tell me the reason.
You still ain't told me why you ain't free. I asked you. You wasn't talking about what you was free to do.
I'm not free because I have to depend upon the white man for my everyday needs.
Why don't you start reducing how much business you do with him? At least even it out. Make sure you go, like you said, whatever you can get from the Sherman grocery store to go there and get it.
And you want me to tell you this? We'll never be totally free of the European because they have. I don't care if you do. You can own a black department store, a black department store, a black clothing store, whatever, a black grocery store.
I'm not owned by a white man.
Guess where you got to get the.
I'm not owned by a white man. I'm not owned by a white man. I'm not owned by a white man.
We can't escape white people though.
I'm not owned by a white man. Real, are you owned by a white person? Are you owned? Does white America own you?
Technically, I believe so. I mean, like, I'm just sitting here thinking, like, I believe there's levels to bondage, and I believe that at the highest level, anybody who pay taxes is a slave. Black, white, yellow, red. Like, I'm trying to figure out how to get to that point where I don't have to do anything I don't want to do, including work and paying taxes. So until I get to that point, I don't consider I have privileges. You know what I'm saying? Just like, I mean, shit, ask Diddy. Like, that nigga, I mean, that brother was making all kinds of, I mean, I'm just saying, like, you can get to a level where even your money, at the end of the day, if they want to show you what the fuck you is or where you is to them,
Thank you.
Hold on. What, you think Puffy's in trouble because he's black? Look, Puffy race ain't got shit to do with what's going on with him. Right?
You didn't let him finish though, Kev.
No.
So you don't think it's strange that Diddy got scrutinized and ostracized before any of Epstein's list?
Say that again. I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
I said you don't feel it's funny that like Diddy came under all kind of heat before anybody on the Epstein list type shit? Like, I mean, I believe he might have been on the list too, but he's a lower peon to the point where he's expendable. Like, I mean, I think once you get all the way up there, you dealing with maritime law, you dealing with Federal Reserves, you dealing with the Vatican. So I mean, I do.
It didn't have anything to do with race, though. I don't think Puffy.
I don't.
You hold on. You're asking about in relation to Epstein. It's two different things. It's two different things. First of all, you got to understand that people on Epstein's list is world leaders.
Right.
Puffy, it ain't because of his race. The people he got ain't world leaders. It's time to give somebody up.
Right, and he lower on the totem pole.
But it doesn't have anything to do with his race. Or the director.
If they had to choose between a low white person and a low black person, they ain't going some sort of tribalism, nepotism, something ain't going.
So the white boy movie producers, they got hit before Puffy. They got hit before Epstein. What's the Weinstein?
Weinstein, he on his way out.
Yeah, but they still got sweated.
And then what about I think even was it Kevin? I don't know, one of them cats.
Oh, Kevin Spacey. Oh, he's
Kevin
out of
Spacey.
there. He's out of there.
Yeah, he out. That's what I'm saying. I think he
But-
went down for a second too. I think, but he out.
I mean, I feel like we are way away from the conversation, but it doesn't matter. It's
But
all
I
good.
understand what Real saying though. It don't make no difference what your financial backing is. Why you think Michael Jordan, Oprah, and all them billionaires don't speak out? And they gonna show you still a nigga. They don't care how much money you got. You still a nigga. You not important in this life. You understand what I'm saying? And it goes back to say, if anything, you get shot, you break a leg, you got to go to the white man's institution. You got to go to the white man's job every day. When you go buy a car, you got to buy a car with either a Ford, a Chrysler, a Dodge that's made by a white man. We are still in bondage. And even though we might not be in physical
You talking
bondage,
about buying cars and then saying, wait a minute. You talking about buying cars and then saying we in bondage. Listen, you don't have to go buy no car, first of all. You can be the type of person who
he's saying, like I said,
no, I'm not being
you
what
don't
you
want to see
saying.
it.
No, what
Did
you
you see what
saying
I
sound
sent you,
good.
though?
It's rhetoric. It's rhetoric. What you saying is rhetoric. It sounds
Did you see
good.
what I
We
sent you,
still
though?
in bondage because you bought a car. Because you go to the car lot and buy whatever car you want. And if you
And
don't
who you
want to,
spending your money with, though?
there's
When you look at
Japanese
that dollar
cars.
bill,
Listen, there's
when you look at
Japanese.
that-
There are Japanese
when you look at
cars.
that dollar bill,
There's
who you see on
Chinese
that dollar bill?
cars. There's European cars. There's German cars. You don't have to buy an American car.
What's a German? That's a white man.
He's not an American white man.
You still
Jews drive. Listen, Jews drive Benzes. Ain't that the ultimate test of get over that shit? Think about it. Jewish people, that's their favorite car. Fucking Mercedes Benz. That's like moving on type shit. Come on, man.
Like I said, though, Kev.
Man, let me get back to my chat room.
Hold on. We can go back and forth.
Yeah, I'm about to mute your
all
mic.
day long, unless you say, "Hey, I understand."
I'm not living in bondage. I don't live in bondage.
You're not living in bondage.
I don't live in
You're the freest man I know.
I might be.
I got to go to that white man. When I go get that prostate exam, I got to go to that white man doctor.
And so do the Mexican, and so do the Asian, and so does the Latino, and everybody else in this country that's sucking off the American tit. So everybody's slaves. It ain't just us. Then the whole world is a slave. Motherfucker gotta go to work.
I'm not.
Yeah,
everybody is slave. So it's white people slaves, white slaves too.
People.
I mean, come on, man. Let me get to my chat room. Let me get to my chat room. Carrie Walker Jones, I guess she was talking in relation of the king and the queen conversation. She said it's usually full of shit. She said a man who holds himself accountable is free. She said Puffy caused his own demise. I mean, you listen, when you put a dude on video in a hallway stomping a small young sister out, smacking her and shit, dragging her around, race is out of the picture. Race is out of the picture. That's just a scumbag of a human being. Now, you can say, well, how did they get the footage on him? It's a witch hunt. They are and let's keep in mind, everybody talk shit. Puffy ain't been charged with shit yet. Y'all notice that. I keep hearing there's a RICO case coming and they found this and they found some drawers with a dookie stain in it and all this kind of shit. Puffy ain't been charged with a damn thing, man. So I'm saying I don't correlate his race with what happened to him. I think he's a bad example to use. There are some other people who you could use, and say, oh, race like OJ. Now, race had everything to do with
any rich.
Say that again,
any
bro.
rich black dude whoever. I said, well, any rich black dude whoever may have forgot what he was is like they gonna come for you, even if it's little legal bullshit. They gonna find something. Somebody from
Forget who he was. What he changed his name, his symbol. What is he, Prince? We talking about Prince? Like, yeah, my name ain't that no more. When you say forget who he was, like what? Because people say Marcus Garvey, which is an excellent. He's been given a pardon posthumously. I'm not. It's not out of the realm of thinking that somebody would try to sabotage a minority company or a minority businessman, right? I'm not saying that, but that Mexicans. Once again, Asians, every race deals with this. We are the ones but we just for some reason can't get past it. They won't let a nigga have shit. That's our mantra. And I'm just saying, maybe we should start being free thinkers and start thinking a little bit differently. I don't. Let me see. I might have another caller. Let me see. I know I got Dion with me. Hey, you live on Outlaw Radio. You calling in for the show? Or you just trying to holler at your boy?
My fault, bro. I got off work. I was trying to holler at you. I'll hit you back later.
Yeah. Shit. Where's Dion? I hope we didn't lose Dion. Dion, make sure you off work. Get your ass back on the jack. I dropped you by accident. No, for real talk. I like I'm saying, I want people to misunderstand what I'm saying. Like I don't live in this fantasy world. I don't live in a fantasy world in which black people are skipping down a yellow brick road. I'm just saying you have a lot more power over your life than you think you do. I keep saying we give away more power than what's taken from us. Ewok the Great in the chat, man. What's popping with you? It's been a minute since you hit us up. What's popping?
Man, what it do?
Man, out here chilling, man. What's going on?
What up, real?
Peace.
Hey, for the most part, man, you know, shit, I side with you on the we being held back shit, you know, and that's some crap baby shit. Even though we know the system, we got to learn how to play. We got to play the game that's presented to us. I get that. You know what I'm saying? Make it do what it do. I wanted to talk about this motherfucking bus though. That shit funny to me because I'm still tripping off you with that 5 on the black hand side ass ice cream that you was buying from Walmart the last time they threw it.
5 on the black hand side.
Yeah, they selling that ice cream. Now they got that motherfucking bus out there, B. With them Yu-Gi-Oh characters, them Dragon Ball Z looking ass Asian characters on the side of that damn bus and shit. Y'all sitting around happy behind that shit. I said, these motherfuckers look like they from the Filipinos and shit, man.
Aztecs.
Hey, actually, that's a King alumni who over that true school. So
man, look, he should have checked in with somebody before he got the okay. Wasn't damn nappy head on there, nothing. They look like Dragon Ball Z characters and shit.
What's my sister's name who got elected to alderman? What's her name? I can't remember her name. She's my man from OVP, Reggie Moore's wife. I can't remember. She did go to King though. You're right. But Ewok, I seen the bus. I didn't really break it down. I seen that they had a couple buses with this rap on it. I didn't really, because once again, this is what the conversation you called in.
I was like, they look Asian.
You called in at a great time because we were just talking about the connection between where's Africa and Juneteenth connected at. If it's 1865 when they finally find out, ain't that 200 years of good Americanism? I mean, at this point, were they still African or were they just American slaves? I talked about the point that nobody in Africa said, maybe we're finna send a boat over there and ask for our people back or nothing. It was like, fuck them, they gone. So I still
think the history is important, but like I say, I kind of side with you too. Shit, I was born in Chicago. Shit, I don't, but I think it's still good for the culture to know everything that's possibly, you know what I'm saying, that's out there to be known. I still feel like you should know it. It should be taught to you, and then you can think about it the way you want to think about it and look at it the way you want to think about it, So I'm fine with the knowledge still being out there. So I ain't with that book ban and shit, you know what I'm saying, trying to make it seem like we just brought it up like corns on the cob around here and then white people didn't do nothing. You leaning towards more of that. No, we still need the history. We still need to know.
No, I'm not saying don't teach the history. I'm saying we're talking about Juneteenth Day, and it came up because Rail said, well, I said, what should we wear? And he said, kente cloth. And I started saying, well, without our real knowledge of where we're actually from in Africa, we could be wearing something that's misrepresenting and we don't even know it out of our ignorance, just trying to support the cause. So then it's counterproductive in the first place.
Right, so, that's true too.
If you don't know, if you don't know NFL teams and you go to Chicago with a Green Bay jersey on and you walk around like the NFL, and they like, we'll beat your ass.
My little cousin got his Green Bay hat burnt up on the barbecue grill. Go on the west side to play them out. They throw it up. It was like 10 motherfucking vice lords over there. Throw his Green Bay hat up and put it on the barbecue grill and shit. Cuz gave him $50 though. But they threw his hat up.
Wow. That's what I'm saying. But you're right. I mean, I think we should, and that's the only issue that we have with Black History Month when we say Black History should be 365 days a year, especially if you have children. Never hesitate the opportunity to explain stuff to them about who they are and their identity in the world, and let them know, hey, you are a man of color. You're gonna have to carry yourself a certain way. You're gonna have to move a certain way. Like, I feel like that part of it, and then saying, okay, now this is the history of our people. And I say, don't have that as a crutch for them. Like, you can't.
No, not a crutch, but
you
but
can't.
an understanding and knowledge, though. The understanding. I don't think the understanding of where, well, some of us is here already. I honestly believe that, but I still think that they shouldn't be doing this book banning and whitewashing shit where they're gonna try to erase the history of them boats. Them boats existed. Where they at now, I don't know, but they had them boats. Them boats was real. You know what I'm saying? So we ain't gonna let them erase that shit.
Yeah, they say they only really ever reported finding the remains of one slave ship. And so I've heard some right wingers say it's not even real. Where are those boats? These huge boats that transported millions of people. You don't have one on. I mean, I'm pretty sure a lot of them was converted and changed into something else.
Right. I mean, shit was wood. What they gonna do? What, they preserved them and shit? That shit was wood.
Right.
500 years ago.
They didn't just tear them up. But no, listen. Our history is very important. I'm not. What I get tired of is people who constantly bring up slavery to me. Like, it's redundant to me at this point for people to keep saying to me, well, and a lot of times they just be done learned this shit, but this be some shit I done knew since 5th grade. So, in 1877, they passed this shit. And it's like, okay, motherfucker, I know. I mean, they feel like they enlightening me and shit. So I just get tired of people just regurgitating slavery. Oh, man, they wouldn't let us do this. And they would. I heard Rel say he's not free, but he has privileges. I don't believe slaves had any privileges, did they? The slaves that the chattel slaves in America, I don't believe they had privileges. When it was a slave, I was saying, I'm about to go get me a brand new wagon. All right,
hell no, you can't do shit without permission.
I mean, shit. Wagon. Even now, though,
you can't go take a shit. You don't get no break. You don't take a shit unless somebody say, all right, go ahead. So no, you ain't free at all back then.
What I'm saying is there's levels to bondage. I mean, just like you said, shit, I can't do shit now without paying. I can't get married, can't have a birth. Like, everything requires a certificate. And a lot of that shit, they charge you registration fees and shit like that for your car. So I mean, like I said, there's levels to bondage, and at the highest level, everybody is slave. Black, white, red.
I agree with Kev on this too, though. Shit, the white man got to do all that same shit. They don't get that shit free. They got to go down there and get their driver's license and shit, insurance and shit like everybody the fuck else. Now, there are things that, you know what I'm saying, we can break down, like, how they treat us when it comes to mortgages on houses and loans from the bank and shit that still ain't right. I just saw some shit on the news today about this scholarship fund in Texas, and it's called the Juneteenth Scholarship Fund, and they only gave one black person one of the scholarships. The rest of the people was white. Now, what the fuck is that about? If it's the Juneteenth Fund, how y'all only gonna give one nigga a scholarship?
White women?
We always got to share our shit with somebody that's supposed to be for us. Anytime they make something that seems like it's for us, somebody else get it. Just like that LBGT shit when Obama was in office and shit. Before they passed the Floyd, what's the boy's name? George Floyd Act.
Yeah.
Biden's gonna pass an anti-Asian hate crime bill. You know what I'm saying? So it is shit that we could actually cry and whine about instead of talking about you still feel like you a slave. No, we need some legislation.
There you go.
Some equal opportunity some real shit though.
See,
you know what I'm saying?
Now, Ewok, those are the conversations that need to be had. So I'm gonna tell you the difference between being a slave and not being one is that back in the days, whatever they did, whether you knew everybody knew it was fucked up, you don't got shit to say about it. Matter of fact, talk about it. We're killing you. At least now we can start to say, hey, we need more legislation in our favor. How do we do that? We need access to our elected officials. How do we do that? Take advantage of going to meet with them, communicate with them, being informed voters, holding them accountable. And when they don't do what you say, you change up on them. Now, I get that local government is way more important than, national shit is a little bit, you got to go up the ladder. But I don't believe slaves even had a semblance of that. People say the black vote don't matter. Bullshit. Yeah. It's changed elections. We have a president and a governor right now that are in office because black people voted. and a mayor.
And black people need to vote their ass out. And then next time you want our vote, you know what I'm saying? You make a promise. You know what I'm saying? Or we gonna have a promise for you. You will definitely not get back in. You didn't do shit you said you was gonna do.
That's right. And now you got to go. We'll just keep
You
trying.
got to get the
We'll
fuck
keep
out.
firing until we find the right person, right? Like
we're gonna fire till we find the right hire.
I don't believe the slaves, because at one point it was illegal for us to vote. Like you can't, and that was post-slavery. It was still illegal.
And I don't believe in people, goddamn it, crying about that don't vote and then be crying about the outcomes and then the legislation that get passed when they didn't even go down there to attempt to put somebody in there who might have took a different path. You know what I'm saying?
They're gonna tell
no.
you, they're gonna tell you, fuck this system. That's what they're gonna tell you.
But how you gonna cry about the shit though?
Well, I mean, people don't want to pay taxes, but you want street lights. You know, exactly. You want a fire department. You want your garbage to be picked up. You want your streets to be plowed. Now, are they overcharging us for them shits? Probably, more than likely, right? You gotta make a profit.
Yeah.
But you want these things. If you say, I'm only gonna use my street lights a couple hours a night, right? Let me prorate my bill. And they say, okay.
No, it don't work like that.
Well, no, because they're going to say, okay, well, we're going to give you the motherfucking real charge of this shit. So you're like, fuck it, I might just put my money in with everybody else's. It's like everybody in for the greater good. So we all pay our taxes so we can have garbage off the street. We don't want to go back to medieval times and get the Black Plague because raw sewage is floating in the gutters and rats running around and shit. I mean, I'm not trying to sound too American. I'm not a MAGA, right? But I'm just saying, he was, why I gotta pay taxes? Well, motherfucker, because you want to be able to get home on a smooth concrete street, right? Even though our streets is fucked up.
Right.
Bad example, Kev. But hey, I'd rather ride them like this than have them just big ass holes and like mud. Like it could be worse, is what I'm saying. And
yeah,
so,
no doubt.
And so, like even in your trees and your bushes and shit like that, you know, you want all this shit done.
You don't think even like in slavery times, there were some slaves who had more privileges than others, but they were still slaves? Like the house nigga might have been treated a little better than the field nigga, if that's the case, but they were still both slaves. So there were privileges. I mean, like even the white folk that were the indentured servants who they eventually put over the slaves, they were still under the slave owners and the aristocrats. They, you know what I'm saying?
Somebody who was a slave would have to tell me what the privileges were. And once again, I'm going solely off of the conversations I've had with my mom, who was a Jim Crow Black American, right? And
now you had the white overseer, then you had the nigga snitch and shit.
You know, people who would snitch and shit. You know, really, buck dancers, I'm sure they did have privileges. You know, the buck dancing dude who would really bow down and kowtow to that white, hey, Mr. Charlie, dance for me, nigga. Well, this funny ass nigga. Yeah, man, give him a pig, right? He dancing for his dinner. So I'm sure he did have some privileges.
Entertainers today. You know what I'm saying?
Having good credit now.
Entertainers, sports players, as long as they entertaining white folk, they have privileges.
I mean, but they didn't have the privileges. He wasn't making that much money off buck dancing. That it was like 2 cents back then ain't the equivalent to 2 million now. You gave
all I'm saying is you can have privileges in a caste system, even in the slavery system.
If you playing the game right. If you playing the game right. Okay, so let me catch Carrie Walker. She says, my aunt was an African high priest. I never knew why Africans moved away from me quickly when I told them that. I've never looked at her as being a witch. She was just my aunt. I didn't know the culture. A high priest, an African high priest. Okay. Is that like hoodoo or something? She said, those were individual privileges that did not serve the greater good like a vote. Yeah, well, you know, like I said, dancing for your dinner. I like it. You know what you got to do to eat, right? Like, you know, I hear what you're saying in that regard. He said, I got to buy a car and go to Woodman's and consumer shit, right? And I'm like, well, slaves didn't let me get on my wagon and go up here to the grocery store. And, you know, they didn't have freedoms like that. You know, some establishments say, no, we don't serve niggers here. You can't come in Woodman's. Imagine if you got to Woodman's to do your shopping and there was a sign on the door and said colors go in the back. It kind of changes your perspective of, I just I don't look at this like, oh, I gotta do everything for the white man. Yeah, I got a job to do. I got to work. The white man maybe owns my job. Okay. If he ain't in the thing with me in my office, kicking me in my ass and shit, or my rights get violated, and he be like, nigga, get your ass out here. You better be lucky we getting what you get. People say, Kev, they do that on the and they say it to you a certain way called at will employment. But I don't feel like a slave. And to me, if they able to make me not feel like one, then I'm a damn good slave. So they're very effective because I don't feel like I live in bondage. I really don't. Economically, I have limitations. I understand that. But if I find my niche and get my money, then I can move on up. Now, you get people say, well, every time a black man he loses his mind, and what you say, he forget who he was. What if he forgot who he was?
No, I'm saying a lot of times, like even what you said, even if you became a billionaire, right? I fully believe that if you start making too many moves that would disrupt the social power balance, the men in black gonna come visit you. Like it may not necessarily be the men in black, it might be the Zohan or some shit like that. But I do fully believe that there are agencies that exist to make sure those in power stay in power by any means necessary.
It's called cronyism. It's called networking. My team against the world. And yeah, we get exclusive. Yeah, no niggers allowed. There's still that in some places in America. I don't want people to think I'm some kind of tree hugging hippie. I don't live in a black euphoria. I just don't believe that I live under as adverse situations and conditions as my mother and father did. And so I look at it like a process of progress.
Yeah. So we can say that there's progress,
right?
But full-fledged freedom.
Well, like we just alluded to, no individual on what individual on this earth is truly 100% free and can do whatever the fuck they want to do.
Yeah, the motherfuckers amongst those 9 families or whatever, however many families it is.
Let one of them fuck up though. They'll get it too if they do the wrong thing. Hunter Biden he got convicted for the crack. He's a blue blooder.
Man, shit, we ain't they don't talk about the Bohemian Grove shit. Like, I mean, I believe somewhere out there there's motherfuckers that get together and hunt humans, and they don't have no
that might be true
body to answer to, none of that shit.
Mike Kim is in the chat. He said, "High priestess, men are high priests." Okay. Thank you for that. Yeah, listen, did y'all see that we might have a serial arsonist in the city of Milwaukee? Like, I don't know if you've been paying attention to the news, but they said that Tuesday morning there was 16 fires in 3 hours, all in kind of a centrally located.
Are these businesses or residential?
Oh, they were residential, like these old homes, and there was it's on the near west side, 49th and Lisbon, over and North Avenue in that area.
Somebody trying to redevelop, huh?
This is crazy. 16 fires in 3 hours?
It might be Ed Wuncler at it again, trying to redevelop that area like Hawaii.
Yikes. I don't think anybody lost their life, but they said from the pattern, it looks like this person's on foot. So it's like, man, somebody really
is the train coming through that area? Like, is something about to go up in that area?
Well, if you keep burning shit, something definitely gonna come up over there. Like, it ain't gonna be shit. That's a dense population, man. What I worry about is that this is happening eventually. How long do you do this before somebody lose their life? You know what I'm saying? Like, fires. We talking about. And those properties, and they were saying the danger is like they're so close together, and most of them are older structures that are made of wood. And so when it go up, it go up.
Yeah.
That is a lot of
fire bugs back in the day. It's a firebug loose.
But never 16 in 3 hours, though. In my memory, I can't ever remember that. Like,
That motherfucker on rollerblades.
Right. What is this? That motherfucker gets around. They just walking around and nobody else see shit. And that's, like I said, that's the dense population is thick over there.
Ed Wansler.
So you would think like, yo, who is that over there with this motherfucker got some gas? You know, like as much as cats creep in the shadows at night, you know, they're outside smoking, hustling, doing whatever they doing. How nobody ain't see this shit? Like I don't think it was even at night. I don't even think it was at night. I said at night, but I think it was early in the day. 7:32 a.m. to 10:56 a.m. Those 3 hours, whatever, what have you. 16 fires. Man, that's a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Firefighters tired of motherfucker. Right? Y'all be, man, keep your head on the swivel, man. God damn. It's crazy. That's Milwaukee for you though. He said that's what is redeveloping. Well, with fire, huh? And listen, I shout out to Sean Moore. I see he said he's gonna bring the Game Member podcast back because they've been on hiatus. And he said he's gonna interview the mayor, Lil Buddy. It's gonna be. I'm gonna share that interview. I want to see it. I want to hear it. And I know Sean. Well, to a certain extent, I know Sean. And if Sean asks him these questions and he starts to dance around them, if he doesn't be forthright and transparent, is Sean gonna say, yo, no. Like at this point, like what else can he deny that he knows about? Because I seen he put on there, he's gonna say why he couldn't help with the school board and some other things. I'd like to hear what he has to say, because we've gone to the mattresses on the mayor on this show about just his lack of clarity and transparency when I've seen him be asked questions. I've watched him on the news. I watched his inaugural speech. I've never really heard him talk in specifics. Like to me, he just like it's that George Bush shit that Cedric the Entertainer says. And I don't know. He's like this little dude. Like we make jokes about it, and it ain't about him personally. It's just about I'm looking at you as the leader saying it's all kinds of chaos and shit erupting around you, and I never hear you speak directly to anything. So I'm looking forward to the Game Members podcast, man. That's gonna be a good look for Sean. I'm pretty sure the listeners on that will be through the roof. So it's gonna be crazy. I'm waiting on that, man. But what else we got? I mean, speaking of the weather, man. We was talking the other night on the show, Kamara and myself, about how beautiful and how festive and how good it is to live in Milwaukee in the summer. We were talking about, Milwaukee is the shit in the summer. Like I'm not from, a huge city or nothing like that there. But for me, my whole life, I've always had the greatest of times in Milwaukee in the summertime. And so it's 90 degrees. You got this heat wave this week. And, I don't want to hear nobody complain because in 2 months it will be 40 degrees again. But it's still hard as hell to deal with it when it's hot as shit outside. Like you be like, God damn, it's hot. It was hot today and yesterday. Like normally they miss on the news. Like, and I'm always talking about we people of the sun and all that shit. I sat outside and my son tracked me all Saturday just in the sun like I was just a warrior. Skin peeling off of my nose. I'm like, this is some of that European shit they done put in my blood. It's where Master done been in the bunkhouse, man. And my shit was peeling. I'm like, nah, black don't.
I didn't think I could get sunburned, man, until I called myself being in my garden shirtless. Man, I got into the crib, all across the back of my shoulders was red and peeling, and I was like, damn recessiveness.
Yeah, man, they say black don't crack, but it sure enough peel. My ass was cooked. And my wife kept giving me like hints like, well, I'm gonna get over here in the shade. I'm like, I'm chilling. I'm watching it. I'm a man. Man, Sunday morning I got up like, boy, why I look like a reptile? Pink and shit on my nose.
Right.
Damn it, massa.
I did not think I could get sunburned, man. That shit burnt too. That shit real.
Yeah, man. You know what? I don't think ours blisters like theirs does. Like, and we can stand some exposure. But I also believe, like, during the times of when we refer back to our history here agriculturally, yeah, they skin officially was like, yo, I ain't tripping, right? Like, it don't bother me, but I'm city folk, right? I don't be out no field and shit like that.
Yeah, I'm trying to get my tan up. I thought it was activate that rich melanin. Nah, that shit turned red and was
Burn
peeling
that
and
damn
itching.
melanin off your ass. That's shit. It was no pain. There was no discomfort. And I guess that's like another thing that's a testament to our skin, but it did peel. Like, so it didn't blister, it wasn't sore. I was just like looking at myself like, yo, what's up with what's going on right here? Right? I had all this dusty material. It was
my shit kind of felt like after I got tattooed on the back of my shoulders. It was kind of like that burn and itch on the inside. So yeah,
I've never been tatted, so I don't have it.
Word? Oh, that's dope.
No tattoos. No tattoos. And at this point, I feel like I'm too old to go get one. Right? Like,
that's the new uniqueness of clean body shit.
Yeah, well, I guess so. But in our
like, if they tats made you stand out, now it's like you ain't got none. Wow.
No, man. I years ago I had stated, because a partner, shout out to K Rice, man, who lives in Houston, Texas right now. That's a partner, and he knew he had tattoos, and we were working together, and so he on his arms he had different shit, and he's like, I'm about to go get another tat. I was like, oh, for real? I think I want to get me one. He was like, what you want? I wanted like some bars, like some military bars. Oh, I was gonna put them on my forearm, which now that I think about it, I'm glad I didn't do it. But I came home and I said to my wife, like, yeah, I'm gonna go get a tattoo. And she's like, what? No, don't do it. I'm like, nah, man, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. She's like, dude, you are too old. Like, that's gonna look stupid. And then I was like, she's like, what you gonna get? And I was telling her, she was just like, nah, because you're gonna regret that in a couple years. So I didn't do it. And I can't say I would have regret if I'd have done it. Because I was gonna go, and then he came to my guy's house and he called me like, man, if you want to get, your tat done, you can come over here right now. I just didn't go. I I let my piercing in my ear close up. I just don't.
Yeah, man. I got a tattoo when I originally wanted one when I was a teenager. I could have been one of these motherfuckers walking around here with these Chinese symbols and shit.
Yeah, you get some young shit when you're young. You walk around. Why the fuck you got Mickey Mouse on your back and shit?
Man.
He was on FUBU at the time, right? God damn it.
Like, you can tell when people got their tattoos based on what they got. If they got Chinese symbols, if they got the Eve paw prints,
or the Indian markings and shit.
Yeah, you be like, okay, that's when you got
early 2000s, huh? There you go.
Right.
Tiarsha Arthur, how you doing, Tiarsha? She said, good evening, Kevin Rail and the Outlaw family. Shout out to everybody. Shout out to the whole family. Shout out to Kamar and Juice Lady, who are not here with us. Yeah. Well, welcome to the show, Tiarsha. Yeah, you're right, though. Like, my cousin, my homeboy, he had one on his arm, on his hand, and it was just some neighborhood shit. And he was just saying, like, one time, like, I said, man, did that shit hurt? He said, like a motherfucker. He said, man, that's why it's so small. He was like, man, I was telling dude, you better hurry up or this shit gonna be half done. And we was like 15, 16. I was like, because my mom's, my parents would have tripped off that shit. Like, what the fuck did you do to your hand? Like, so yeah, I never did it. And I don't have no tattoos for the kid. Sometimes some people got too many. Like, I think some people have really, of course, it's your body. You could do what you want with it. Like, I'm gonna say that. You got that right. But that's just like, so certain pictures you see of even some famous females on the internet. I'd be like, you got too many tattoos. Like, it's just not cool all the time. 1, 2, a nice one, a well thought out one, you say, oh, that's tight. But when you see a woman and she just got them everywhere, you like, oh,
that was a trend too at one point in time to be like, you remember a lot of people on Facebook had like "oh so" tatted in their name and shit. Like there was a time where it wasn't even the quality, it was just the quantity, and having a whole area did. So that motherfucker have all kinds of doodles down their arm just to say that they got a sleeve or some shit. So it just show you kind of the trends and shit. Like all
it's all good. Yeah, it's
all
all
of
good.
mine I designed, and they all still had like a meaning. That I didn't want to be one of them folk, and I ain't saying nothing wrong with these folk, but I ain't want to be one of them motherfuckers that just be like, I want a tattoo. What you gonna get? Oh, I don't know. I'm gonna go to the shop, see what they got. No, it's like, nah, I'm cool on that. I designed all mine, so they all still have meaning 10, 15 years after I got them.
I don't like. How many do you have?
I have two. I got an ambergram across the back of my shoulders that when you read it left to right, it say Jefferson, but when you read it upside down, it says salvation, just to keep me grounded on what I carry on my back, my family's name and my beliefs. And then I designed this. So this is a Maori. It's called Kiratui. Basically, it looks like Polynesian without taking any of their family designs and accidentally disrespect them and shit. So it's the arm, and then it comes down into the chest area. So those my two, but they big in the motherfucker, and they took about.
I see that shit look like it hurt like a son bitch.
It did. It was a few sessions, a few 3-hour sessions.
Yo, I'm good. I'm good. I don't. Yeah, I'm cool. I don't know if I'll ever get one. I'm just saying up to this point, I'm not. I don't.
Nah, I mean,
I don't
it's
like.
dope.
You know, I don't need like. I let it look like necklaces and rings and every now and then I wear a watch. Right, like I still love watches. I still got like 45, 50 watches. But I don't even, sometimes I forget about ones that I have, and I'll be getting dressed, and I'll look, and I'll be like, oh shit, just go with this fit. I ain't wore this watch in like 5-6 years. I forgot I had the battery be out and shit. I'm fronting.
All through high school, I used to collect them fossil watches because my homie used to work at the Buckle, so he used to send me them. He used to send me them the fossil watches when they was like discontinued.
Yeah, glow in the dark faces and shit. I fell in love with the Guess Water Pros when I was in college.
Oh yeah,
because I wasn't. Once again, I mean, you always had a watch, but I wasn't in it like When I got in school, I started getting more about like clothes and shit.
Yeah.
In high school, I was, I'm flying shit, but I wasn't really trying to, In college, I was like, I gotta impress the ladies. So I started with that, and then since then it's just been a bunch of different kinds. I ain't got nothing like no rollies and no shit like that. I got some expensive. Yeah. I got a couple expensive ones, but yeah, I let all that shit go. I really ain't, because it don't take that much. Now, I think being just clean, understatedly clean. Like you're clean, you smell good, and you don't stick out like a fork. Like I don't have to wear a lime green fit. Or you know what I'm saying? Some with buckles and spikes and shit on it. Like something simple and understated, a nice, just slick button down.
I mean, real shit though. Like now, with the knowledge that I have, before I spent money on tats, I probably would have spent money on jewelry because I mean that's gold. At the end of the day, you could bust it down. You know what I'm saying?
This is true. Everybody has their own way of expressing themselves, though. That's the great thing about it. I don't, that's what I'm saying. Like as people with dreads now, people who have, all kinds of different cultural statements with their hair, I still just go get a fade. Like, man, just cut my shit.
And some people don't even like them being dreads, man. Like, they are called locks. It's like, oh, okay, shit.
All this kind of shit. I hear that. Yeah, I've heard somebody correct somebody before on that shit. Like, my antennas to the universe.
I'm like, whatever you want to call them. I said, I don't feel offended when somebody call them dreads because it make me think of the Mile Uprising, where it was dreadful for them white folks to see them niggas coming out the bushes because they was coming on business. So I guess however you choose to associate words to your perspective.
Well, it's one of those things. Black hair is a thing. Like, and you'd have to be black to understand it. Our hair, I don't know if white people look at it this way because I've never had this conversation with a white person. So maybe they do. But for us, our hair is an expression of who we are. Like it's almost like your hairstyle represents you if you're a black person. You inadvertently make that statement because your hair can reflect your lifestyle. It can reflect your perspective in our community. And when we see each other, we can identify like, oh, that brother must be da 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 da. And you see a brother walk around with a perm down on his shoulders. That brother is underworldly. right? Like he's slick and smooth, right? See somebody with dreads, you automatically assume what you used to, not so much now, but somebody who has a certain kind of dreads, you say that person must be into like spirituality or Rastafarianism or something like it's some behind why they're wearing their dreads, not just like a regular sack chaser who just I'm gonna get my hair twisted up in dreads, and they normally don't keep them that long anyways. They'll wear them for about a year and be like, yeah, man, cut my dreads off. Yeah, so it's an expression. Our hair is a big thing, man.
You know, mine was more so convenience. Like shit, when COVID happened, and then like, dude, real shit. I ain't gonna lie, kid. I hate making appointments. And if you a barber that makes me make an appointment, I ain't fucking with you. Just real
I hate
shit.
that shit too.
Okay, cool. I thought it was just me. See,
you know what? This is something. I'm sorry to cut you off, but
no, it's all good.
You just hit me upside my head because I'm for real. Because I've been talking about prayers and condolences to my barber, Paul Cooper, who was shot. I keep saying,
how you doing, man?
I haven't heard anything, and I haven't called him.
I used to go to Paul back when he was at Kiss and Makeup in Capitol Court.
Capitol Court, yeah. Oh, I've been going to him on Capitol for like 20-some years, right?
Okay.
So
yeah.
I just go whenever I want a haircut. I just go to the shop and just wait. Who in front of me, Paul? Now, since he's been down with my son, this barber who gives you a time, right? Made an appointment for fucking 11 o'clock the other day and didn't leave the barbershop until 3:30.
Exactly. Don't make me make an appointment and then I'm still waiting 20, 30 minutes to get in the chair. Fuck that. I'll just go to the new person who just cut, you know.
I got you.
So that's why I stopped going to the shop, because COVID made it to where you couldn't even go to the barbershop unless you had an appointment. So I just let my shit grow, and then it was like, fuck it, I ain't had locks yet. Let me see it, because I tried locks before and people couldn't get it to lock. I just had a Drew Down Shirley Temple curls and shit.
Oh wow.
They was fly, but they didn't last. So then when they finally locked, I was like,
that's
cool.
just Shirley Temples.
Yeah, man. hey, they was fly too. It looked like a straw set. It got puffy.
Some wild shit. I came out of COVID looking like Wolfman Jack, me and my son.
Everybody.
I did shows during the pandemic, like when we were all shut in.
Yeah,
I would not pull that video up now. I've seen one before. I'm like, what the fuck? My shit. I don't know if you've ever seen a picture of Isaac Hayes from the 70s, and you say, why is his beard so nappy?
Yeah.
Like I remember seeing that album when I was little. My father would have old Isaac Hayes albums, and the covers he'd be on there. And even as a kid, I'm like, why is his beard so nappy? That's
2 days ago, I was playing The Look of Love for my lady to show her where that Ashanti sample came from. And then Don Tripp, I don't know if you fuck with Don Tripp, but he just did a freestyle to that Looks of Love sample. So I just showed her that, but I just seen the album cover. It's like 4 of them going around the album.
It's a bunch of them, because my pops had them all. Like,
okay.
I would always be like, what is up with this dude's beard? Like, his shit, like, nobody said, hey, Isaac, let me catch that for you before we took the picture. Like, what the fuck? That's how my shit looked after. I could never figure it out. Like, what? I think I'm traumatized behind that shit from my childhood, man. Real talk.
Walk on.
Right, that era and shit when he was Black Moses. Like, what is up with Moses' beard?
Change this shit.
Terry Walker Jones said I wanted a lizard on my back, but my husband discouraged me by saying it was going to turn into a dragon when I gained weight. Oh my goodness, that's a burn for the ages. I don't listen. Once again, you hear me talk. This is me. Y'all go do what y'all want to do. But I think the most important part of what we like this discussion was what Rail said is, depending on where you at in your life, that tattoo might be something that 10, 15 years, because it's supposed to be there forever. You might just forever be reminded of some shit by looking at it, saying, I'm gonna get this shit covered up. And I've seen people do that. Like, I'm gonna go get this tattoo covered up, because that's like people get somebody's name tattooed on them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, who knew if I would have got some girl's name tattooed on me, like, 20, 30 years ago, who the fuck? I be sitting around mad as hell right now. Like, why did I do this shit? Like, it's
It
just.
sure is nice to see your name on somebody though, man. It is.
I've never experienced it. I've never experienced. I hear it's a hell of a feeling. I can imagine saying that to my wife and just seeing the look on her face, like, you kidding, right? You know, I'm not gonna do that shit, right? So, you know, I don't. They say you go together and y'all sit there together. I'm just glad I didn't do it. Shout out to you if you did it, especially if you got to put on your neck or your face or something. That's gonna be some shit.
My pops always told me about job credibility. So like even my tats now, they don't come above the collar line or, you know, I mean, not saying anything now, because now you fuck around and the manager come to you with tape.
Right. That's what I was.
And that's cool. That's cool for each day own. It's just my pops was in the house and he always drilled job credibility in me, and don't do shit that's gonna fuck up your job credibility.
Yeah, man. I used to have a gold toothus. I got it snatched. Because I used to go.
Was it permanent?
Yeah. My mama took me to the dentist and got my shit put in.
Then so you had to get a veneer instead?
Yeah. I'm gonna tell my secrets on the
air.
Oh,
my bad. See, I want some
right?
open face up top, and then I want my the snatch out bottom. I'm still probably gonna get them.
Nah, just because when I would go into any interview, I can just feel them just looking in my mouth, like.
Oh man. Well, yeah, probably. Was it just a single front one?
Yeah, it was Mike Tyson-ish. Right?
Okay, yeah. I feel
you like Mike Tyson. It's like, get the fuck out of here. But yeah, I just
like you sucked it and carried a straight razor and shit. Like what you talking? and the bowler hat, like I'm thinking of Rage in Harlem and shit.
No, I just the high top fade and gold, man. That was the 90s hip hop shit.
Oh, okay, like, okay.
It's that era with the hoop earring and shit, and it was that. It wasn't no, you know.
That was like more New York style, wasn't it?
Or down south, because my mother was from Mississippi. Down there, it was a big deal. So when I turned 14. I had a little small chip on my tooth, and when I turned 14, she's like, "Look, I'm just gonna put some gold in your mouth."
That's fly.
Like, oh, okay. So then I showed up at school the next day, like, dang, and I was like, "This motherfucker got a big ass gold tooth in his mouth."
That's
like 8th grade and shit. That shit was funny. But I had it snatched though. I had it snatched just because it didn't fit my demeanor anymore.
Would you get it back now?
Nah.
No. See, I ain't never had that era. So like I'm 41 now, man. I want to get that open face and start wearing walking suits and straw hats.
Yeah, you know what? If I had money and I just wanted to fuck with people, if I had the money to spare, like just some money I'm gonna waste, which I don't have.
Yeah.
I probably would go get like a grill, like a whole top, and just or something like that, just to mess with people. But it would be such a waste of money for me because like there's nowhere I'm going. Like what?
It's gold. It can always be buzzed down. There you go.
Well, I understand. It just be sitting in the house because I can't imagine just like I show up somewhere and be like whatever. They be like, oh shit, you got I'm over that shit now. I guess that's what I'm saying.
I remember cats I used to work with, like when I worked at Jules on Capitol Court, motherfuckers was working for their chains. Like they went over to Capitol Court and that's back when Byzantine. Remember Byzantines and shit?
Aaron Bones?
No, the Byzantine and the Turkish links, they was the thick ass fat ones. Well, herringbones, that was more like the New Jack City era.
Yeah, that was the 90s, man. Come on. I know.
But yeah, motherfuckers had they Byzantines on layaway working. We used to get paid every Thursday. They'd go make a payment on their $1,500 Byzantine chain and shit.
Yeah, I got a nice Byzantine with the Jesus on the cross. You never seen it wear it. Yeah, my wife wears it.
Oh, that's fly.
I have it for years ago. It's like the first thing I did. People like, what the fuck is they talking about? We just kicking it. We just kicking it at this point.
Right.
No, when I first started working for MPS, and I thought, okay, I got a real job. I'm making real money. And it's me, just when you're young, right?
So you was flossing on the kids with a Byzantine?
Well, I had gold in my mouth. I mean, I was young. I was dressing still like I was going like to Bouchard's getting my clothes. I was coming to school with Havana Joes and shit.
Iceberg
like
sweaters and shit.
Well, yeah, I had a couple Coogee fits. Yeah, understand what I'm saying? But I just
hey, you know what? Real shit. That was back when I was like a junior and shit in at King. But Juvie coming, and I was like, you know what? If I go see Juvie at the rave, I want to see Coogee dresses. I want to see updos with the bang that matched the dress, the lime green bang to match the lime green Coogee dress.
Yes, I
Like,
mean, yeah, I was a grown man at the time, so I was, having, like you saying, it's finna be a concert. We gonna go get our fits, right? Like, and so but I remember that I never forget Capitol Court, man. I never forget. I went in there. It was Christmas time. Well, me and my partner had been out just Christmas shopping. I made sure I blessed my mother. I had a nice little knot in my pocket.
Yeah.
It was legal, so I was feeling myself. So I was like, you know what? I'm about to go in the jewelry store. And I walked in there, and it was on the thing, and it said $500, $575. And I was like, it was a black dude. I don't know if anybody remember the black dude who was muscled up with a tank top with plenty jewelry on, who used to work in that store. He had like a ring on every finger and like 5 nails. I'm like Mr. T starter kit. He said, "You like this young blood?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Oh, that's you." He put it on me. I was like, "Oh."
Yeah.
I was like, "Man, I can't give you $575 for it though, man." We went back and forth for about an hour. I just kept looking at it. He just kept the mirror in my face. I said, "Man, let me give you $4 for it." He looked around. He played me with the salesman trick. "All right, man, hurry up, man. Let's hurry up and write it up, man." I walked out there like I got him. No, you probably.
Just for you.
My shit was long. It was like down to here and shit. But I came out, my partner's like, "Ooh, nigga, you snapped." That's what I'm saying. A different place, different time when your mind is on shit.
With
Like
the Nuvi and shit.
Yeah, well, I had a Philly. I never did the Nuvi, never did the curl, nothing, just a fade. Yeah, man. So you move on, man. You get older, you look back and say, I got shoes in my closet right now from years ago that I look and say, I would never wear that shit right now. What the fuck was I thinking? Like, that's horrible. I would never. It's all about moving on. And here's something that another thing, a continuation of what we talk about on the show all the time. And we just reference COVID, right? And I don't know when everybody's gonna come fully clean on the fuckery that the COVID vaccination was and the movement to get people vaccinated. Now I'm hearing people say, y'all be careful, don't slip. COVID is still out here and it's still affecting people, which it definitely is. But I'm saying the vaccine, by their own definition, didn't prevent the getting it or spreading it, right? So now we see in Kansas, there's an attorney. He's leading a class action lawsuit against Pfizer because of the inaccuracies that they put out there about the vaccination when it comes to pregnant women and the danger that it posed to pregnant women. There's also this thing about this myocardism and myocardopathy, whatever it is. It's basically that affects your heart, and the effect that it had on people producing heart failure. And they lied. They lied point blank when it first came out. It's safe, it's safe, it's safe. No, we've done tests. They even mad about the lab rats that they gave it to. Some of them done died and shit. Just like they're killing the rats too. So when are they gonna come clean with us about what actually was in that needle? I'd like to know. There were people who had it and had gotten boosters. See, that made it even dumber to me to say, okay, here's this, and it came out, we got this vaccination, it's free. And then after a while, you said, wait a minute, this shit ain't. Then they said, well, you got to get a booster. So some people went back for round 2 and 3. What exactly did you put in your body? Right? Like, so, and I pray that there's no long-term effects on people, because I think my daughter and my wife took it the first time. I think my daughter even got boosted. My son and I did not. And I caught COVID and all the stuff I had seen on the news, and I was like, oh my God, I'm shit, this shit might be over, right? Like, I'm quarantined in my room, and thank God my body fought it off. I lost energy and taste. I couldn't taste anything, couldn't really smell, and I didn't have no energy for a couple of days. And then my shit bounced back. But I refused to take it. I was like, I'm not taking that shot, especially if you tell me that it doesn't prevent you from getting it, it'll prevent you from spreading it. And I understand people who say, well, no, I was trying to be safe and protect my family. But when they gonna tell us the truth about this, real? Because they still ain't came clean.
It come out in spurts. I mean, shit, everything I posted and ended up in Facebook jail for ended up being the truth. That's why I still share this shit, because I still got people on my timeline and shit talk about this is irresponsible and fear mongering. To what? Share the truth? Like you know what I'm saying? Like I've been sharing the truth from the jump street when I knew something was off when they was trying to bribe motherfuckers with donuts. Like I knew it was off when they told family that they can get out of jail a few days earlier if they agreed to taking the shot. I know sales. So when somebody trying to hit you fast and hard while emotions is high, that mean the product ain't shit, and they got this little bit of window before you come to your senses. So when they talk about lotto tickets for jabs, donuts for jabs, free subs for jabs, they got Juvie rapping vax that thing up. They got Samuel L. Jackson telling you just take the motherfucking shot. Like there's a lot of black celebrities we still need to call to the table for being pawns of the oppressor. I mean, granted, they was just doing the best they could with what they had, which was a lot of coercion and misinformation. But at the end of the day, I would love to see a lot of those motherfucking black people, black celebrities who caused a lot of people to get the jab, and the motherfucking dude that was saying people who don't take the jab need to lose their job and be shamed just for him to lose his job. What the fuck is Lemon or something like that? Damn, I can't remember his name, but
it's not coming to me right now. I can't remember what
he was like Don or something. He ended up getting fired from his
name was
show.
Don or something.
Yeah, like Lemons or something. But
Don Lemon, you talking about Don Lemon? You talking about? Oh, okay.
I think that if he a black dude,
yeah, he's black.
But he like, yeah, they need to be ashamed. They need to lose their job. All that shit. Like, I would love for them to just be accountable and be like, you know what? We fucked up. We were scared. We
misled
paid.
y'all.
You know, some shit like that.
Yeah. And I know that's wishful thinking, but I'm just saying at this point, I would think I think the outrage will continue to grow, but there's going to be so many different lawsuits. But it really doesn't crack until there's a real public admission that, hey, we panicked and we kind of dropped the ball on this shit, y'all. Our bad. You know what I'm saying? Like I once you do that and say, okay, we're gonna start paying out these lawsuits, like with the talcum powder, with the fact that it was cancer causing, stuff in it that affected women who would use it. And I'm sure for years women were saying, yo, like something is off since I started using this shit. But until they said, you know what? All right, let's get it over with. Let's get these lawsuits out, pay it out, and just move on.
And they said they knew that shit since the 1950s.
Yeah.
And that be the thing. It's like they be knowing the shit. They just don't want you to know it until they run up a big enough bag to where this settlement of billions is just a drop in the bucket.
Especially if you black. No, I'm just kidding. When
it come to green, they will exploit anybody.
Right. It don't matter what the fuck color you are. Right. It's a bunch of Appalachian white people somewhere deformed as fuck right now. Like, we do drinking water in the coal mine for 70 years and they ain't tell us shit.
All that shit. Like I did see something, a picture the other day. It showed two white kids playing in asbestos sand.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so or even I guess back in the day, some people saying like the polio shit came when they were spraying some kind of insecticide on the lawns, and the parents would have the kids go outside as that truck went by spraying so that they can get sprayed too, so they can play outside without getting bit by mosquitoes.
Wow. I mean, that ain't shit. I rode in the car for years with two parents who smoked cigarettes by the packs, inhaling all kinds of shit. Like, you wasn't gonna say to my mama, "Can you let your window down?" She'd have cussed you. Look, motherfucker.
It still might have been more natural or safe to. Like, I just think now, like I was telling my lady the other day, I said, man, every car I get from this point forward gonna have leather seats, because I get tired of going in the car and you see all that shit floating in like that that
the dust.
upholstery.
Yeah.
And that shit is synthetic dust our body can absorb and assimilate. That synthetic shit just stay. And now they talk about you got microplastics. We don't be just knowing how our everyday environment be killing the fuck out of us.
Carrie Walker Jones, she said, I still call Midtown Capitol Court. I do too. You know, if you grew up, that's what I'm saying. If you're from Milwaukee, we all know what that is, right? Like it's like whatever they build in Brown Deer at the Northridge site, we always gonna say Northridge.
Northridge, right?
No, it ain't called that no more. No, it's Northridge, right? Like people still say A.L. Smith. That shit is like Century City for like 20 years. It's over there by A.L. Smith.
Right. It's always gonna be A.L. Smith.
Yeah. She said she got the shot and it created a heart condition. That's what I'm talking about, the myocarditism. And
I'm sorry to hear that, the myocarditis.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like when I got it, shout out to Kamar. He brought me a bag with all kinds of vitamins and elderberry and sea moss. And my wife was hitting me with the citrus tea, like lemon oil, and just
the crazy thing is, like, it just really show you how the mind works. Like, the crazy thing is, all them death tolls that they were putting up there, when you did the total of infected versus mortality, it still did come out to whatever the fuck they were saying, like 98.3% survival rate. Like, even all them thousands upon thousands of people, when you divided that shit by the total infected, it still came to that little percentage.
It was minimal.
But because of what they pumped on the media and the news, it made people, I'm just gonna get the jab to be safe. It's like, if you look at the other side that they not reporting, you already got a 98% survival rate, man. But they didn't focus on that part. They focused on the mortality, that when you add it up, it still was that little amount. But then again, you never know, because all them old folks, some of them are, I mean, you know, God rest dead, they probably fell victim to negligence and malpractice like they did every year before COVID.
And a lot of them were sick, you know. I'm look, getting it, whatever it was, yeah, it did have some effects on, you know, because even if you were in a certain condition, it just finished you off. But
right, anybody who was intubated, they probably was gonna have pneumonia anyway. That comes with,
right.
Fortunately,
but if you were just like, you know, the chances of you getting it to just drop dead they didn't tell us that though, like you said.
Right. They had to capitalize on people's fear and ignorance. To run up this bag.
It was a beautiful thing though, because I had so much fun during. I had left RC when the pandemic came. I went back. I got back into it and I was like, man, I forgot how much fun this shit is, and I just got a chance to do it by myself with nobody around, nobody stopping, asking, hey man, how fast that going? None of this shit. Right. Just out there, and I'm like, you know what? I'm back on. I think I done bought like 14 more since then, right? Like, so, yeah. MC Tone said he got the pimping disease, right? he got the disease called pimping.
The iced tea.
He got the flu shot and his perm fell out. Damn. Fucked up. It's fucked up, MC Tone. Shit, pimps got to go through.
Not the Rona state.
Now you see, down in LA, they have decided in Los Angeles, the school system has decided that they are now going to ban cell phones and social media in schools. Right? Zero tolerance policy. You can't have them. And you weren't here Monday, but we talked about on Monday that the Surgeon General wants to put a warning label now on social media. And so, because they're looking at it and they're saying, for young people,
it's a drug.
Well, they're saying basically it's 95% of I don't have my talking points from the other night, but it was like from something to 14 to 17, something like that. 95% of these kids are on social media and with these phones. And so there's a movement around the country now, and LA is like, they're the biggest school district so far to say, nah, we finna put the oonks on that.
And that's smart. I mean, it has stopped so much shit. I mean, you got people now going live to have meetups to fight and shit. You know what I'm saying? So it's a safety factor to have it in the schools like that. But then also, like I be just working on my kids because I'm like, nah, they about to get structured from 11, from 9 to 11. They gonna be watching Mr. Rogers or Sesame Street or some shit. Cause there's a like TikTok and all those short form under 30 seconds. That's because you get a dopamine spike every time you change a video, and then it plateaus out after about 3 seconds. So they trying to get you to keep scrolling. So it's literally a drug, and it's making it harder for children to keep focused and an attention span, which is going to be terrible for these teachers in another 2-3 years.
So what they said is that in teenagers it has to do with eating disorders, depression, anxiety, sleep deprivation, these kinds of things. I'm glad that my kids came up at a time during the cell phone, kind of like the wave, but it wasn't as big as it is now. And I'm saying that because now you see the youngest kid with a phone.
Right.
Back when my kids were still little, it was like every kid didn't have a phone. It was like, you got to wait till you get a certain age to get a phone, right? And also my wife is like DEA on give me that phone. Let me just out of just spot checks, and you don't know when it's coming. That's not to say they didn't get away with something or see something they shouldn't have seen, but I'm just saying it didn't. Until they got to be older teenagers, that's when the whole social media platforms. My son is really not dependent on social media now. He has a couple pages, but it's not his biggest thing. My daughter is young. She's 21. She's a young adult, I should say, not young, but a young adult. So in their generation, Instagram and all that stuff is part of what they do. It's like their CNN, like their cable TV. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, but she's not hooked on it like that. So I said all that to say I'm grateful that this era, goddamn social media. I agree with you. It is a drug. Hell, I can't tell you how much time I spend sitting watching some dumb shit on Facebook. I'm talking about watching somebody skin a damn elk and cook it for dinner, like watching a press smash toys and shit. Like sometimes I watch shit and be like, "What the fuck am I doing?"
Like me and my lady used to argue because I'm like, I ain't about to sit here and watch no fucking Aborigines dig a hole and swim in no pool. Like, I'm like, I ain't about to look, cut on the movie or cut this shit off.
Oh, we gonna watch this shit. This shit is
like, we need to learn this just in case. I said, they ain't teaching us shit. They just making underground pools and lofts and shit.
Oh man, I do it all the time. Especially they give me with fishing videos, I don't know. I for a minute I was just watching animals like cows and horses get their hooves done. Like I will sit there.
They banned dude now and shit because they were saying it was too graphic because he had to file out them cysts and shit.
Yeah. Oh man, I just be sitting there like, what? Let me get back to work. Like it is just a natural thing now to say, shit, let me take a break from this computer. Let me see what's up on Facebook. So I can see how the kids are just fascinated by like, oh my God. Like, so I think this is a good thing. I know Milwaukee MPS tried that. That is something that they have tried in the past, and it just did not work. Because first of all, when the kid would go home and say, Miss so-and-so took my phone, and you got to come back up to the school to get it, it's all hell when that parent get to the school. God damn it, I gave her that phone because I be needing to talk to her so I can pick her up. Like, but you don't understand. She's in the classroom with the phone out. Right? Like, that's why she lost it. It ain't because she had it. And then I think MPS even eventually cut the Wi-Fi. They used to have free Wi-Fi. I think they cut it off. Now, period. I don't think kids can get it now at all. So I think that might be a good thing. I mean, let's get the kids back to, because I keep talking about losing the understanding of physical interaction, like really meeting people, talking to them. Just the art of introducing yourself to somebody. You know what I'm saying? Like,
having some finesse about yourself.
Just
They just be socially. Some people be socially awkward, man.
But they're not online though. They're not on Instagram though. I mean, they're not awkward on there. Is what I'm saying.
Right.
They got an avatar. They got an image. You see
they
the
got
pictures.
That persona. Yeah.
And you meet a motherfucker like this where you be doing all them posts from?
Yeah.
I think most of us would be surprised at the individual behind some of the accounts that we see, based on how they make it look versus how they really live. I think a lot of us would be like, I would think this motherfucker was, but I know some people who I can see them on Facebook front, and I'd be like, they need to stop that shit.
Right.
You need to stop it. Like, so yeah, man, that shit. I think that's a good thing. I think that's a good thing that they are. How they're gonna do it is gonna be something, something different, right? I don't know how they're gonna really do it. What else we got? Another thing coming off the wire is that the in Louisiana now they've passed a law that said the 10 commandments have to be public, like posted for public view in every school. Every public school, they gotta have the 10 commandments posted. And I was thinking about that, like, okay, wait. In public school, the 10 commandments are posted. I guess people say you got the Constitution posted, you got the Bill of Rights. Why not have the 10 commandments? I just want to know how they're gonna explain this to kids. Like, how do you teach this? So, because you can't pray in public school, you're not supposed to have religion in public school. So how do you teach them what this stuff actually means? So, this is going, and it's in Louisiana, so it's in the South. So people say, well, that sounds like some shit there to be down South. But pay attention to what conservative America is doing, because it could, as we all laughed at first about this whole shit about attacking history and getting rid of, the truth, but because it started in Florida with DeSantis, and it's like he didn't want this taught and that taught, and we was laughing, but then what we get up here, you just got, and our mayor just signed off on the shit, like no money can be used for any kind of DEI initiatives, right? And so it's like, that shit creeped up, didn't it? And you was talking about book burnings and book bannings, and like, there's some people, if you let it start small, it'll eventually end up as that, real. It'll end up as, that's why I think, what was the senator's, what was her name? She's a congressman or something. She was saying she wanted porn to be illegal. Like, that's one of the things she wants to pass legislation for. And I'm like, you can't make porn illegal because as soon as you say no to this, then you got to start saying no to other shit.
Right. Or just like freedom of speech. People want freedom of speech until somebody's saying some shit they don't agree with. It's like, no, you can't have,
it's got to be this, or there can't be no gray area like that where, right. Well, if I don't agree with it morally, you shouldn't be able to see it.
Right.
It's just civil liberties, it's personal freedoms that we should be, as long as you, when you are enjoying your freedom, don't throw it in somebody else's lap. Like, you shouldn't be watching porn with kids. You shouldn't be disrespectful to other people. Brothers used to ride around with TVs in their cars. And I think about this all the time. It'd be like 4 dudes in the car and they pull up and they have porn on every screen in the car. And it's just I always thought that was kind of like strange. Like, what's that conversation like while we riding down the street? Just, I've been in a car with a couple of homies. I had a couple of homies who had a truck or a car, or whatever, with a TV. Motherfuckers don't even put TVs in cars no more. Remember that was a thing? Motherfuckers got TVs in it.
I got 2 in the dashboard. I got the flip down. I got the impact.
2 in the headrest and shit. But I had a couple partners where we might have been riding one time, and somebody put, like and motherfucker like, hey man, no, hell no, man. I finna be riding around with y'all watching this shit, man. There's 5 dudes in this car. And then I had some partners who'd be like, hey man, put that shit on. Like, it was just like a mixed bag. I never had TVs in my car, so I never engaged. But it'd be funny when I would pull up to the light next to somebody and you look over and they just got a straight porn.
Right. They can't even see it. It's in the back of their head. They just got it playing.
They might have one big screen in the front of it, like, it's just a crazy time. People. TVs.
That was that big timer shit.
Yeah, the single worst era in hip hop history, right?
The big timers?
Yeah.
You ain't like Still Fly?
No, I hated all their music. The only song The only thing that Cash Money ever did that I did enjoy was Juvenile's first album. Juvenile's first album was a classic. The Manny Fresh on the music on that album. Oh my God, Manny Fresh showed out on that first one, man. But after that, and when it got into the bling bling and all that, to me, that's the worst hip hop era because it was so commercial. It's about Avarex jackets and two-way pagers and
Burberry.
It was about expensive shit, but it was no substance. And so the music
now,
in that period had no substance.
Even like now it's coming out that a lot of them TVs that I seen on MTV Cribs and shit weren't even really their crib. It
wasn't
was
even their house.
Shit. Rented cribs, rented cars just to act like you live in a certain way.
And they use hip hop to do that.
In the
champagne and to me it was the worst era of hip hop. The music was horrible. I was sitting in the barbershop. I told you I had a fucking 3-hour. Me and my son is sitting there like, God damn. And they're younger dudes. They're younger than myself, right? Like, generation. I would say, that time I'm in my late 20s. So by the time the Cash Money shit was, really big.
Yeah.
So, but it was their music. That was their generational music. It's like I would play Tupac or some shit like that. They playing this and they know all the words, and I'm listening like all this shit fucking sucks. It just none of it had any meanings. I get it. Sometimes you just want to dance, but it was just Gator boot and my Louis suit. Like, okay, that's kind of catchy. But then it's just to me, that's the worst era of hip hop, man. I say this all the time. I stopped listening to hip hop from about 2001 or maybe 2003 to about largely to this day. Like in terms of new shit, like staying on top of the wave and knowing what's coming out and who the newest artists are and buying new albums. I went all the way back to the 70s. And that became my favorite music. Like that's when I really just got off into Parliament and Tower of Power and Earth, Wind and Fire and Ohio Players. I started listening at that. So I would be driving around in my car listening at that shit because I just couldn't take the 20-inch 26s on my ride. These goofy ass cars with spinning rims. Where's these cars at now and shit? Like with the funny ass paint and it was just bad.
That's them dunk rides. I mean, I think they still ride dunks in like Florida.
Not the dunks, because the dunks in Florida is something different. Not the dunks. I'm talking about where cats was just putting goddamn huge rims on. It sounded like the bottom finna fall out their shit when they turn the corner. Like it was just a super materialistic time. And I don't look, creatively. I look back on it like
even putting the Louis Vuitton wraps on there.
This type of shit, right? Like.
Oh man, the spree wheels and shit.
Oh my God. It was some cats had some nice cars. I'm just saying, like, I love classic cars. So I even watched during that time a lot of dudes have something that they probably didn't know the value of it, like a Cutlass or a Caprice or an old school car, and you cut the fenders and change all the suspension so you can put some 27s on it and shit and paint it fluorescent flipping purple and green. And he used to be like, why you fuck that car up like that, man? It's just, it's just for me personally. I always have to say that I just don't like, I hated that era. The music was Birdman musically. I never understood like people like to listen to him rap. Like he was horrible.
He always said he wasn't a rapper. He say
I'm a game spitter. Yeah. That's an excuse not to be a rapper, but still make a rap record. I'm not a rapper. I'm a game spitter.
Manny Fresh. Manny Fresh always been one of my favorites off of Cash Money.
He was dope. Manny Fresh was good with the music. I don't even share the same appeal for Lil Wayne as most people do. Like I've heard him say some clever lines, but it's after it's during that era where I'm like,
I feel you.
I know I used to shout out to, once again, my boy Keaton Rice. I know he used to rock with, because he's a little bit younger than me, and he would always say, no, you got to listen to Wayne. The Wayne flows like it.
I used to first time I heard Wayne was off that Juvie album, that Run For It, and he had the coldest verse on the song, and didn't even. That's back when he didn't cuss. Remember that shit?
I don't, because I never paid him attention. That's what I'm saying. And most of his shit his rise really came after everybody else had kind of fallen by the wayside. And I think he had ventured out away from Manny Fresh and started working with different people. And he came with a whole different thing. That Cash Money, the Big Timers and all that kind of stuff for me was just like, I wasn't really. And we in the barbershop and they be like, the block is hot. The block is hot. I'm sitting there like, this shit is trash. just me. He can rap. Even to this day, I like some of his. He says some shit in some rhymes. I think at one point he got a little too weirdo for me, though. He got, when he's wearing leggings on skateboards and, just he started to look funny. Like, dude look like he don't even eat solid food and shit. I never want to see an artist cross over into the Michael Jackson threshold again and be a supporter of that shit. We love celebrities. Like, we in America, we love celebrities to the point where we just drive them fucking crazy and insane. And Christopher Williams, I'm sidebarring, but fuck it. It's Wednesday night. Christopher Williams, who is a late 80s, early 90s.
New Jack City?
Yeah. Kareem. Pretty brother at the bank, right? But he's actually a singer, right? Like so Jaguar Wright has always told this story about Christopher Williams. I guess bossing Puffy off or some shit like that. And like, so he's on Willie D right now. So I listen to Willie D and he's on Willie D show. And he was just talking about the fact that Michael Jackson, Prince, and Whitney Houston, probably three of the most talented black people you've ever seen, are all dead. And he was like, this is what this celebrity shit do to you. And he was breaking down like kind of like, how maddening it is and how crazy and many the industry is and how to drive you crazy. So
I believe it.
So I didn't want to, because Michael Jackson, you look at him, it's sad. Like it's really a sad story. At first it's really inspiring and like, an American's rags to riches. When you look at what fame actually did to that brother, like when you read his autopsy report, you say, oh shit. All we wanted to do was hear him sing and dance. We didn't care about, Prince. You think about the irony of Prince, who was at one point this health fanatic who was, Jehovah's Witness and living clean, for him to die in an elevator of a drug overdose. Whitney drowns in a bathtub high off cocaine, allegedly. You see what I'm saying? Like, so I don't want to cheer for
just like
I don't want to. We don't know if that right. We don't know, but that's what he was saying too. He was saying, and Willie D even said, "I feel like certain people were knocked off, right? Like if they got to a certain point. We're going into that. Black man can't da 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 da. But I'm just saying, like, when I see a celebrity get so famous, it's time to stop the idolatry. And I think people talk about Eddie Murphy all the time, but a lot of individuals are too young now to remember when Eddie Murphy was the biggest black phenomena as far as entertainment goes that we had ever seen. Like all this dude's movies, it had never been a black star whose movies averaging $50-60 million. We talking about in the 80s, and everything he did, it was bling. And then he just went, all of a sudden, Eddie riding with a hooker, late at night in California. What the fuck? Look at Martin Lawrence. Funny, just boom. And then all of a sudden it's like, whoa, because that fame and shit get you to the point where your brain gets scrambled. And for rappers, we know that to be true. And I kind of felt like Lil Wayne was kind of leaning in that direction for a minute because they were saying like he was passing out and shit and going into strokes and shit. I'm like, dude, whatever it is you using. And it's just that celebrity shit. And the thing that Christopher Williams said that I thought about, because I didn't agree with everything he was saying, but when he says you as an artist, you start off with this talent that you have, and at first you just enjoy doing it. It's an expression. It's your own personal thing. And then you find out that people like it. So you get into this thing of, okay, I want to share it with people. And then you realize that it's money and you say, okay, I want to get enough money so I can take care of me and my family and get whatever I want. And you get that. Then he said, and then what's next? What's next? It's all more the same after that. Like I'm going on tour again. I'm gonna do another movie. Okay. I bought another mansion. Like I can understand how that would take you to a kind of strange place where you'd be like, and literally nobody around you is willing to say no. Or real, you shouldn't do that. Like, yeah, you going off the deep end. Most of our most famous people, were borderline insane. Like, they talk about like real artists like that. Like, I think DJ Quick said he said, I come to realize it's a thin line between being absolute genius or plumb loco.
I mean, that's the reality of it. That's just, I mean, shit. I mean, look at artists. What was that? Van Gogh cut off his ear and shit like that. So I mean, there's art is a outlet for emotional expression. So I don't think art make you crazy. I think crazy people find art to be less crazy. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, it's a very thin line between being a genius and a nutcase.
Yeah, and so we all have, like, you go to Maslow's hierarchy,
needs.
Yeah, like his hierarchy of needs, and you start talking about these psychological pillars, and just think, if you get all the way up that pyramid, technically you can say, okay, boom.
Well, what's the highest one? I think to inspire or some shit like that.
Something like that. I don't have it memorized.
Wow, yeah.
I wish I did. I should. Many times I had to study it.
I've seen it so many times, but I can't remember.
Self-fulfillment or something like that.
Yeah, I think so. Like self-fulfillment or inspiration or some shit.
But I can imagine getting there and saying, "Oh, this is it. I thought I was gonna feel different." You know what I'm saying?
There's a book called The King, the Warrior, the Magician, and the Lover. And it talks about one of the aspects of the warrior is, that's the aspect, goal chasing. And then when they finally achieve it, because you've achieved it, you feel like there's nothing left for you to do. And it could potentially lead to a depression.
And you spiral out. I'm telling you, you lose grip on reality. You go all the way out. Read the story of Howard Hughes, which some people might say he already had an issue mentally, but I mean, this dude was a genius. When we talk about commercial air flight in this country, people don't know.
Spruce Goose.
Like, this dude was a genius, man. Businessman, philanthropist. Like, they say, well, the movie Iron Man, who was Tony Stark taken from? It's taken from Howard Hughes. That was Stan Lee's kind of twist on that, right? Like, to say, here's a dude who has absolutely everything, only, of course, it diverts in the comic books where he becomes a superhero. Because what else is left if you Tony Stark? Right? Like, now I have a God complex because I'm going to ride around, and a person who was supposed to die, I got a super suit and I'm going to save their life. So you just changed God's natural kind of way in your mind. Like, no, God, it's like they talk about great doctors, like great surgeons who have really just done thousands of surgeries and saved people. Said they develop a God complex. Like, nah, I can prevent you from dying. They start to believe this, right? Like, they have more into it than anybody else. So yeah, I don't when I see any celebrity getting there now, I just kind of say, hold on, let me back up. I think that's the good thing about what Cat Williams did in terms of with the Shay Shay interview, is that he gave everybody a reality check. Like especially those of us Black people, and I know, don't get me wrong, gatekeeping is going to exist forever. It's part of the process. There's always going to be people who be like, shit, we going to do for us and protect ours, and you ain't getting in. But I think what he did was he gave people a reality check to now, where people like Puffy and Epstein and Weinstein, they're being exposed. Kevin Spacey. Now, all this goddamn existential bullshit you've been on the last 5. Diddy done changed his name 7 times. There was something behind that every time he did it, right? Like, it's but he just was allowed to get away with it for so long. So I'm just saying that celebrity, I don't think money necessarily does it. I think celebrity and fame does it. But you see people get rich and get old and be like, shit, I'm finna die. I'm gonna give away all my money. Boom, they gone. But then you get celebrity motherfuckers who just chopped his nose off and yeah, I heard you got a penis flew in from Argentina and put on, and they just be on some wild shit. Like, what the fuck? That fame, man, that losing that part of yourself that is private. That's why people would always ask me, why won't you run for office? Because I'm like, I enjoy my anonymity. I would want to be able to go somewhere and not have people sweating the shit out of me. Hey. That would be that will make me pissed. You know what I'm saying? So Dion back in the chat room. I see you. He says back in this motherfucker. He said you see Serena will. I seen a rumor about Serena saying she was gonna get divorced. It was on media takeout though, so you can't really put nothing behind it. I don't know. Is she gonna unbed winch herself? I'm trying to stop saying bed winches, y'all. It's a nervous tick, right? It's a nervous tick, right? If I can stop myself from calling other black men coons all the time, I can stop that shit. I can stop it. There's a higher plateau. What else we got before we go? Because we ain't got that much time. I every time I say I'm gonna keep them on that long, and I'm running my goddamn mouth forever. Let me ask this question: do you think eventually Mary J. Blige, in this cancel culture, in this R. Kelly, Diddler, Weinstein world, do you think Mary J is going to suffer some repercussions because Danny Boy, the singer from Death Row, has come out for years and years repeatedly saying he was flying in to basically have sex with Mary J. Blige when he was 15 years old? And should she be in trouble for this? Sidebar, it was the 90s. Now Dion is saying he's lying. Is he lying? I've heard him say the same stories over and over. I heard Suge Knight say it. So I don't know. Is this a double standard? I personally don't think Mary J. Blige is a pedophile. And I don't know her personally. So that's one thing to say. But I don't think she should be persecuted for if she did something with Danny Boy, because number one, at that time, he was a high profile celebrity. And they were in the same industry. I don't people say care that don't matter, but it does. I mean, maybe some people say, well, that's why he's gay now. Because
how old was she at the time?
She was in her mid to late 20s, maybe early 30s.
You know what? The other day, I was just telling my lady the other day, I said, I really wish I didn't watch Inkwell again. Like, because the other day I wanted to watch Inkwell, so I got it and watched it just to see that he was 16 when that grown woman slept with him out of appreciation for, getting back at her husband type shit. And I was like, you know what? It was a fly coming of age movie, but now as an adult seeing a 16 or a boy that's supposedly 16 has sex with a grown ass woman who was married. I said back in the day, it was like, oh, that's dope. She appreciated him that much. But now, as a grown man who raised boys, it's like, what the fuck, this grown woman? So with that, I know it's a double standard when it comes to grown women. But now that I'm older and have a different perspective, it's still kind of fucked up. Like, it made me think of a time a grown woman offered me, well, it was just shit, when I was like 13.
We all have our,
and at the time, it's like, damn, she offered me so. But now it's like, dude, what the hell?
So shit. I do this to myself all the time. I bring up some shit and then I'd be like, oh shit, you just made yourself think. Because anytime any older woman showed me any kind of attention when I was youngster, I appreciated it.
I thought I was fly.
Right. I didn't feel like oh, I'm being taken advantage of. And I know what people are gonna say. Well, you were too young, and but I'm saying no. I remember generally being stimulated by it. Yeah, I've been looking at her anyways, type shit. So I'm not denying that it was wrong.
Right.
But I think that this has always been the way of the world, in which
that double standard.
For men, it's like a rite of passage. This woman showed you the light, like she brought you over. I'm saying, I'm trying not to sound as cavemanish as possible. But
no, I feel what you're saying.
I don't. How many of us out here, men, who are moving along in their life and they're normal and they're not fucked off. Their first kind of involvement with a female was with an older female. She wasn't, maybe not a grown woman. But if she was 17 and you was 14, if you were 18 and she was 28. Even though they say 18 is the legal age. I get it. I'm just saying for men, it's always been like, yo, if an older woman shows you any attention, use your player. Use your player. You got that pimp bone in your body. And so now, because back then say that's the Reds tape. Like and the Reds will get some, nobody was in like leaving that movie theater saying, shut this shit down.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
So yeah, she deserved he deserved that for getting back for
because her
heaven.
husband was such an asshole, right? Her husband was such an asshole, and he deserved that, right? Like, no, that's fucked up. I'm just, I think the times were different. And I also think that Danny Boy was living a lifestyle that was kind of conducive to that. Because usually if you a 15-year-old dude and you running with some real G-ass dudes who having money, you gonna get a piece.
You gonna get a piece.
It come with it. So you riding Benzes and, wearing shit, you able to fly and come fly from LA and, that ain't, so I know brothers who got in the game like that up here who's having his little bread or whatever, and he was with the right dudes and shit. He go in the club, you ain't supposed to be in there. But it's one of them women that I'm gonna make you a man tonight, baby. He was like, oh shit, son. Oh. So yeah, it's a can of worms. I don't know if people really want to open up. Because it's easy to say, because we do know there are some predators out here. But when it comes to women who do that, like, because in my heart of hearts, I would be very, very, very upset if an older woman, at this point, my son is 17, 18, right? But if I found out he was 14, 15, an older woman messed with him, I would be upset with her. I would be. But I would be more concerned with having a conversation with him about how it affected him and his perception.
Right.
Right. And if it was something that he was really, really traumatized by, that he was really like, yo, dad, I can't even, and if we had to notice a marked change in his behavior, it would have been like, yo, this is why it's fucked up to do. But if, he said, and I was cool. Shit, to me, it was, pop. I'd be like, all right, if it was a dude and he said, no, my gym teacher, and I don't care. Fuck that. This dude got to die. I don't care. We're finding him tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
That's my own personal double standard. So, and in my mind, I'm always thinking, well, at least he ain't gay. But that's the wrong way to approach it. You know what I'm saying? So, look at Ian. Well, damn, Dion. He was talking about Serena. He said she looked like Lil' Kim. Damn. I don't know what's up with. I don't know what's up with Serena Williams. Y'all gonna listen to me when I start saying, "Hey, man, that bedwin shit is real. It fuck with your head." Was she weird like this before, and we just didn't know? But Serena now is like coming out looking like, like who the fuck did your makeup? It's weird.
I mean, there was a time when she was in tennis that somebody always had something to say about how she looked. So maybe that could have took his toll,
Yeah, well, I'm sure there's always some and we don't, like I said, the fame and the fortune, it hides what the reality is. So we don't know. She may have been dealing with this her whole while. We was looking like, damn, you see her in that cat suit? Right. She might have felt super self-conscious about that and she's like, look at me, I look like a whale, because that's what people was telling her. Right. So we don't know.
The monkey and all kinds.
Right. But we was the ones defending her, and then she jumped to the other side of Dion, you had to call back, so I know you got something you either agree with or you disagree with. What's on your mind?
No, yeah, man. I just had to call back and I took my enslaved ass when they got me something to eat. I mean, went to Culver's and Pick a Say.
Wait, why you didn't go to a black-owned restaurant? Why you didn't go to like what's that joint over there? It's a lot of black restaurants now. Why you didn't go to Sherman Phoenix?
Boy, you a goddamn fool.
I'm asking you a question.
No. I'm talking shit because it was too far. I was trying to get in and out. But what I was about to say, yeah, Serena Williams, man, she bleached her skin, bro, and looked like she did shit to her face. I'm gonna keep it real with you, man. I think Danny Boy lied. Listen, it's some shit. I feel like this. I think Jada Pinkett that boy should have shut the fuck up about fucking Jada. I think Daddy Boy lying because he just want to be relevant. Like right now, if a motherfucker say, "I'll blow your brains out," because you name a Daddy Boy song, I'm dead. I don't even know the fuck what he said. Mary Jane gave that young ass nigga no pussy, and if she did, nigga, what? You should have been happy for fucking the queen of R&B. You should be trying to be her man right now. She's single to mingle. I want her. I want her bad. You know what I'm saying? Like I want her.
He said he want her bad.
Like, you know, like, I don't know though, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's almost like when you get money and being in Hollywood is strange. And old Cat Williams, he brought it to the forefront. That's just like people be saying, now this is my personal opinion. I ain't got no facts behind it. I do not believe that Luther Vandross was gay. The reason I don't believe Luther Vandross was gay, because after all these years, no one has ever came out and said, hey, I was pinning Luther and Luther was pinning me. Maybe they signed a non-disclosure. I don't know. But I just feel like, because eventually stuff just come out. You know what I'm saying? Somebody was flipped. Like, we ain't even heard, like, what was Luther fucking this guy at? Maybe he went overseas and was doing it. I don't know.
Dion, so what do you say to people to this day who said Luther died from AIDS? That he acquired AIDS from homosexual intercourse, and this is a theory that's out there. There's stories of the music scene and the people that Luther used to be with. It's out there on YouTube if you go look at it. There's some people, there's some dudes who will say, you know, I'm not saying whether he was or he wasn't, but I'm just to that point. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, but I agree with you. I would agree with you on Danny Boy. I feel like, you know, but he is gay. He is out of the closet homosexual at this point. So
Danny Boy is?
Yeah, that's been known for.
I didn't know that.
He's been out the closet for years.
You running around here sucking dicks, my guy, and you out of order for that, man.
I don't know if he's a bottom or a top, man. I don't know what he does. It's not my business. I'm just saying, like, you know, he is. I don't know why he would tell his story either, because to me, y'all, what two adults do between each other consensually is their business, unless it was taken or unless it was forced upon you. So I feel like
15 though, so he wouldn't have been an adult when it happened.
He wasn't, but he knew. But he was saying he went there to get it done. Like, he wasn't running, like telling Suge, "Oh, protect me from Mary J." He's like, "Nah, I'm on my way to get that shit." And he was 15. That's the only thing we can keep saying, is that he was 15. But he was 15 in Hollywood. He was 15 with wealth and power and influence and celebrity. It kind of changes it, you know, just a tad bit. My bottom line for me is I think he should just shut the fuck up and not talk about it.
Yeah, he should have just shut the fuck up, because it was somebody. I can't.
Hold up.
No, go ahead, Real.
Go ahead, Real.
Oh no, my bad. I was just saying it's a double standard, because, like how you said he was a fast living kid with wealth and power, but on the flip side of that, there's underage girls who are whole mothers, but are still. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? So to say that, well, shit, she a mama. She fucked before, like.
Fucking set it out, right? No, I'm not.
I mean, not to, you know, I don't. I mean,
I don't know. You're right. You're right.
It just showed a double standard of it. Like he was getting money. He had hoes.
Well, I admittedly stated that I have a double standard with this. I have,
and we all do.
Right.
We all do, and that's why I was like, ain't nothing gonna happen to Mary, because it's looked at differently. Like I said, with Inkwell, it was a coming of age movie, and that was the climax of it. Literally,
coming of age, no pun intended, right?
Him sleeping with a grown ass woman that was married to another man. A young boy smashed your wife.
Man, like I said, he must have been the worst husband in the history. Yeah.
You gotta watch this thing on Netflix. I can't think of the name of it. It was Tell Them You Could Talk or something. I just watched the shit. Let me see if I can pull the title up. But dude, it was an autistic boy, and he got some shit. He got some weird fucked up disease where he can't walk and all that shit. You know what I'm saying? Oh, girl gave him some pussy. Yes, she did. And she was married too. I said, wow, let me see. Tell them you love them. That's the name of it. You got to go watch it.
I seen the preview. I seen the preview.
So we can talk about it Monday because, man, look, that boy he was a nonverbal. I think he had cerebral palsy or something. He got some pussy, man. You know what I'm saying? Listen, I wish if I had cerebral palsy, it's plenty of people that probably got cerebral palsy want some pussy, though.
You know what? As sick as that sounds, I understand your logic that it as a man, you say, well, good for him. You know what I'm saying? Like oh man, that's like I know it sounds. Listen, and this is to all y'all. You'd be surprised how fucked up some of the shit you think in your head sound if you say it out loud, right?
But that's like all these grown teachers fucking these boys. Like, is any of them in special ed? When we say is that well, good for him, good for basement Bobby.
This is something that's always been happening, though, real. I think it's just new light shined on it. When you see the continued occurrence of something, you have to say that hey, well, obviously this has been going on for a while. Right,
yeah,
like so,
it's an Adam Sandler movie. I'll be cracking up at called "That's My Boy," but that's the whole premise of the movie. He was a young junior high school kid that had a kid with a teacher.
That sounds. I think I've seen that.
It's a hilarious movie. It got Vanilla Ice in it and shit too.
And we seen the movie. I think I've seen that
Donnie
movie.
Burger. His name Donnie Burger in that movie.
I somehow and then they show it when he's older or something. Like
because he come back into his son life. His son like 30. He like 45 and shit.
I've seen that. Yeah. There's a true story in Seattle where the lady was messing with the youngsters. Like
shit, wow.
See, Jordan said, he said, should they cancel his grandfather? Let me read your whole quote, Ian, before I clicked on the part that he said, my grandmother was nearly 15 when my 18-year-old grandfather married her. Coming out the South, we know that there was a lot of that going on back then. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like it was a lot of that. I mean, we got a hold of Color Purple was all about that.
It was promoted by the parent. You talk to that man. He a good man. He got a good job.
What Tina? Well, the North is different from the South because in the South right now, you could marry a 16-year-old if her parents didn't give consent.
Right.
That's on the books in Alabama. You know what I'm saying? You can go down there.
Shit.
And they just ended the law, I think, in Tennessee where you can't marry your first cousin. Because you used to marry your first cousin. Believe it or not, and see, that's the thing about, learning stuff and shit to be shocking. It's a lot of people, the Roosevelts were cousins. Teddy and Lady Bird.
Franklin and Eleanor.
They were cousins. Up north in Sheboygan, the Kohler family, they did a lot of inner family marrying and breeding because white people felt that once they did that, that's how they kept they raised pure for one, and they kept the generational wealth within the family. You understand? If they didn't have an arranged marriage.
Y'all go check that documentary about them white people in West Virginia.
In Virginia,
where it's
them motherfuckers can't talk.
It's like 7, 8, 9 generations of inbreds, and they just
hemophiliacs and all kinds of shit.
Crazy. Like there's some shit straight out of a fucking Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Have eyes and shit.
Yeah, they do. They look like Wrong Turn. And then I think it's either Louis the 13th, one of the kings of England. He was an inbred.
Well, they say King Tut was inbred, and that's why he died so young. They say he had a hump in his back and a club foot. And all kinds of
he
shit.
was disfigured like a motherfucker.
Right. And let's just make sure that we're saying he was not from Kemet. He was from Egypt. So we say he was black. Well, no, he wasn't. He was probably Greek, probably a biracial Greek or something. What say you, Rail, about that? How dead on am I? I know I'm missing something, but what happened?
Shit, I don't know. I think who was his father? King Akhenaten?
I don't know, but they was all screwing each other for generations. So
I can't tell you what they. I don't think that was when the Greeks. The Greeks was the Ptolemies and shit. Like
okay.
So
who had slipped in there when they was Egyptians, straight Egyptians? It wasn't Kemet. So what was it? Because I always get corrected on that.
Well,
somebody who knows.
Greek. That's the Greek. Well, the Greeks called it Egypt type shit.
Right.
And he was. I don't know. I just threw one out there. Just want to make sure I ain't totally off.
Hey, Kevin, here go one of my generalizations. I know a couple people that fucked their cousin too. And still, they was distant cousins. They did that shit in Chicago when I was growing up. It wasn't like it was frowned upon. You
This
know
shit
what I'm
happens
saying?
in every family.
This was the rule I always heard. First cousin is off limits. Your first cousin is damn near the closest one to be your sister or brother, whatever. But anything after first is pure game. You know what I'm saying? One of my guys, he stayed getting down with his cousin. I was like,
Damn.
God damn. And it was his cousin on his mama's side too. You know what I'm saying? That's how I remember it so well. And I wasn't shocked by it or nothing like that. I was like, shit, I mean, what's up with cousin? Is she spreading it around like that? But
Wow.
Once I heard cousin,
man,
I was off of it. I don't give a fuck if you was cousin by marriage. I'm off of it. Like, shit.
And they had one where, and this was, I seen this on TikTok not too long ago, where you know how, Papa Rolling Stone. So a man had about 4 or 5, kids, and they was all spread out. So a guy met a girl. Anyway, make a long story short, he didn't know that was his sister. Come to find out, guess what it is? It's his sister through his daddy. And they still continue their relationship. They like, fuck this, we in love. And
it sound like a bad Tubi movie. Because I sure seen the Tubi movie.
I don't know what to say about that, though. What do? You fell in love with this woman. Y'all been together for a long time. About maybe a year. I think it was like a year, 18. I think it was like 18 months to 2 years. It was somewhere. But it was quite some time. But it wasn't long. But they genuinely loved each other. And they found out that they shared the same father. So what do you do?
Oh, you got to break up, first of all. You have to break up, first of all.
Man, you be so emotionally.
No, we got the
you
same.
You gotta make sure your kids meet your kid. Like that's one thing I stress, man. Make sure your babies know they siblings. Like real shit. I got a sister that I didn't meet until we were in our 30s, and she's the same age as my current lady. And they even knew each other. So it just showed that they kicked it in the same circle. Had no idea this was my sister until she hit me up on Facebook. And I still was kind of in doubt. Like, wait. Does this motherfucker want some money or something?
Wow.
But, it was... But then it was like, oh, okay, cool. So now we call each other bro and sis. But I didn't meet her until we was both in our 30s.
At least you didn't hit it. Thank God.
Thankfully, because I'm saying she's the same age as my lady. They was in the same circle.
Back in the days, I might have knocked that down. No, I'm just joking.
Thankfully, but that's why you got to make sure your kids know each other. We didn't know each other, so that could have been a possibility, but thankfully, shit ain't work out like that. You know.
Carrie Walker Jones said they always had image issues back. She said they always had image issues back to the beads. She's talking about Venus and Serena. It's a Tiger Woods thing where the sport you play puts you around country clubism, but I think the image issues are definitely there, especially for her. And somebody, instead of brothers like me who are assholes calling her a bed wench, talking shit about her, somebody probably need to check on her. You know what I'm saying? So, sis, you all right? You good? This is Tiarsha. She said, Lil' Kim bleached her skin because she couldn't understand how Biggie had married Faith Evans after 2 days of knowing her, and her family said she had been self-conscious about her skin tone. Yeah, I ain't never read into no sex that made me bleach my skin. That's some crazy shit.
Well, Kim was gorgeous.
She was. I don't know if nobody ever told her back then, like, yo, you should not be doing this. She was fine.
Yeah.
She was fine. I don't know, But if we can see it and she can't, it's gonna be an issue, right? And like I said, who was talking to her back then?
That's how it usually go, man. I know some beautiful, beautiful women who are the most insecure. And then you even get tired of like, damn, well, if you don't see it for yourself, I can't make you see it. So it's very easy for some of the baddest ones we consider dope to have so many self-image issues.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of, you don't get anything, right? You get some cards in your favor, and then you say some of my shit off. It's just part of how humans are how we kind of program. Ian Jordan said people were classy back then, but D got a point. Danny Boy gay and not happy. Is he not happy? I don't know. Snoop just gave him his plaque and welcomed him back to Death Row Records. I'm not buying nothing with Danny Boy on it. that's a whole different show. Carrie Walker says she just watched that documentary about the invalid who got some turn up. But yeah, I wouldn't. I don't even feel the same way about Danny Boy when I listen to old Pac now. I'd be like, yo, and he was on some of my favorite Pac songs, and I'd be like, I'm just not, I'm still working, y'all. I'm not totally evolved yet. I still gotta make some adjustments. It's 10 o'clock. I try to, when it's 10, I try to keep it even, Steven. So we're gonna get out of here. Kamar is not here, but hit him up at the House of Vitality down at the Sherman Phoenix. Support Wellness Our Way. We'll be back next week. Rail, what you got popping this week? Because we ain't coming back this Monday.
Shit, just hoping to have this fence up by this weekend. I plan on putting the fence up and currently looking for an illustrator to bring this book to life that I finished, the emotional intelligence book for children ages 8 to 10.
Okay, I'm going to another track meet for my son this weekend, but I'm gonna be with some sunscreen on, or I'm gonna have a hat, right? Because I can't do the. And then I think now maybe I got it out of my system. I think I'd be all right now. I don't see it peeling.
Why you can't be in the sun, bro? What's going on?
Well, you got to go back and listen. You got to go back and listen to the show. You got to go back and listen to the show. What happened? Yeah. But I don't know. Will it peel again? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Because I'm definitely gonna be.
Yeah, you probably on some medication or something. But my lady friend, her shit, she get when you fuck with that medication, man, you can't be in that sun like that.
I don't know, but the show kicked my ass. Like I said, it wasn't painful and it wasn't discomfort. It's just a little peeling. So I think I'll be okay. But I will have a hat on though, because I'm not, fuck that. I didn't ask you what you was doing because I didn't give a shit. No, I'm just kidding. What you on for the week, man?
No, well, I took off today for Juneteenth, so I'm gonna make that day up Saturday. So I'm gonna be at work Saturday driving on rig. I got to go down to Oak Creek to get a live load. After that, maybe come back, do my grass, pick up some dog shit in the back. And then Sunday, I'm going to go over to Illinois to spend some time with my lady.
Sounds like a ball. Sounds like you're going to have fun, man. I want to tell everybody, keep your eyes out, man, especially if you're down in that area where those fires were. I still think 16 fires in 3 hours is many. Let's be safe, man. Let's not have the street code with this shit. You see that motherfucker running with some fire, tell on his ass, because God forbid one of these babies die in some of this craziness. So be on the lookout for that, man. Other than that, I'm just gonna tell y'all, like I always tell y'all, keep your head on a swivel, be very careful, be very thankful, and be very humble, man. And I try to tell people, be careful what you wish for. Sometimes we make a mistake of praying for things instead of praying to be prepared for things, right? So like you'll pray for a Cadillac, but you won't pray to have enough money to maintain the Cadillac. So you only end up having it for a short period of time because you can't maintain it, right? So I think we need to be asking for preparation. This is just an idea. You do what you want to do. It's just me personally. I try to say, prepare me for whatever blessings you are about to give me so that I can maintain them and keep them. That's just a little ism, just to say, man, what do I want? Where do I want to go? I think as a person of color, you have to be aware that we went the long way in this country. And so, yeah, there's been a situation where a lot of things have happened to us. And I'm also of the belief that anytime you see somebody who has these kinds of a great number of enemies and a great number of adversaries, it's usually because they possess something special. Right? Like everybody ain't trying to rob you in the hood because you broke. It's when you in the hood shining and you got money that they want to come for you. So I think we need to kind of mine our own resources and start coming up with solutions as opposed to dwelling on the problems. That's why I'm always saying I don't want to talk about slavery because I'm fully aware of it. I'm fully aware of its effects on us. Even up to this day, I can still see where there is some shit there. But you are what you dwell on. You are what you emphasize. That's what I learned as a coach. If we can't run the ball, you know what we need to be emphasizing in practice? Running the ball. You know what I'm saying? If we can't stop the pass, you know what? In practice, we're going to work on this week, y'all? Stopping the pass. So it's just like in real life. You are what you emphasize. If you emphasize clarity and perspective, positivity and progressiveness, then that's usually what you become. Just make sure you don't become the type of person whose criticism of the community outweighs your contribution. Because at that point in time, we're going to have to label you as a coon. I will see y'all on Monday, man. Peace and love. Outlaws for life, baby.
Outlaw.